Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Hey there, what is happening? Sorry we were running a little bit late here. My fault, my problem. Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I'm your host, Jeff, and look who I've got. I've got these guys, but I can never point in the right direction no matter what. Doesn't matter how many interviews I do, I still fuck it up. So we'll try that way. Nope, we'll try that way, and we'll try that way. There we go. We've got, and I know this is lame. I know you guys are like, oh, he didn't do that. But I went with Brothers in Shred for Atheist. I got the Brothers. Yeah, Alex is like, no, man, don't do that.
No, you got it. You got it.
I couldn't figure out anything more catchy, so I went with it. So we've got Alex Haddad and Jerry Witunsky, right?
Yep, Witunsky.
I almost said Witunsky. And I knew that was wrong. As soon as I almost said, I'm like, don't do it. So Jerry Witunsky from, Atheist, both of them are playing in Atheist. They're currently in the band and played this summer on the, what was it called?
The Focus and Presence Tour.
Focus and Presence Tour, right. And also they have their own stuff, which we're going to talk about. Jerry is in Till the Dirt, which is Kelly Shaefer's new band. Not new, but it's new, kind of new. And also he has his own kind of doom death. I thought it sounded a lot like Cure and doom metal mixed together, which is kind of a cool combo in Ancient Death, correct?
Yep.
And then Alex down here is he has a band called Arkaik and also Dessiderium, right?
Yep.
All right. I kept wanting to say Desideratum, which you guys wouldn't know what that is, but it's a front. Do you ever hear of Frontline Assembly?
Yeah.
Techno-industrial sort of band. Yep. There's an album. They have a side, like 9 million side projects, and one of them is called Synesthesia. And one of my favorite albums of theirs is Desideratum. So I was like, don't say Desideratum, say Desiderium. So
yeah.
Anyways, guys, want to thank you so much for being here tonight. It's super cool to have you both here. I'm stoked, and I want to thank Alex for jumping on kind of early. You got the time change, a little difference. It's quite early for him out there in
all good.
Arizona. And cool. Jerry, you are in Mass?
Yep.
Right. Okay, cool. One little slight thing I'm going to do real quick. Alex, is there any way you can bounce your speaking volume up?
Yeah. Just see if I can. I have my mic plugged in, but I don't think it's actually. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you to do that, and I kind of goofed. So.
No, all good. Let me see. Oh, yep.
Technology.
Anyway. While you're working with that, just give me a mic check then in a second here. So we're going to get into this real quick here, and we got some really interesting stuff to get into. I met these two guys back. It's hard to believe, but it's almost 2 months ago now, which is kind of mind-blowing. Back on July 7th, when I went down to my daughter and I, Lauren and I went to see the Cynic and Atheist tour in Baltimore at Soundstage, and not only was I blown away by how great these guys, how great the service was to the songs. They're both really fantastic live performers, and more than that, they're super cool guys. They're really great young guys. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you young because I'm old. I apologize. I'm an old man. You guys could probably both be my kids. Jerry, you definitely could. And Alex, you're right on the borderline because
we're pretty close.
Lauren just turned 28 a few days ago. So
yeah, I'm 28.
Yeah.
But my volume better, by the way? I tried to.
Yeah, it's a little better. Yep.
A little better. Okay, cool.
So kind of what I wanted to do here was we're going to get to the Atheist talk and Till the Dirt and the band stuff. But I kind of want to go back with both of you guys. And I'll start with you, Jerry. And I want you to kind of go back in time to when you were a kid and your first kind of memories of music and what kind of hit you. It doesn't have to be metal. I don't necessarily mean metal. I mean, what about music kind of grabbed you and made you take notice of it and kind of get inside you? Because all of us that are music nerds and musicians, we came from somewhere, right? And it was always, for me, it was, and these may be new names to you, maybe not, but you know, I'm a kid of the 70s. So I was born in 66. So I started hearing the music my mom and my dad were playing. My dad was playing Beethoven's symphonies. He was like an old man before he was out of his 20s. Okay. So, which is not a bad thing because classical music is pretty cool, but he was listening to like Beethoven's Fifth. And I remember that dun 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 dun. You know, it was like, whoa,
Oh yeah.
that's pretty epic. That's pretty fucking metal, right? For classical,
Yeah.
right? And then my mom was listening to stuff like James Taylor and Carole King and Simon and Garfunkel, right? So that's the kind of stuff I came from. She wasn't doing Sabbath or even the Beatles or even maybe a little bit of Beach Boys here and there. But that's where I come from. So Jerry, talk to me about where you came from as far as your origin.
So both my parents are huge music heads, and so I've always grown up with just a huge eclectic taste. When I was a little kid, my dad's was always playing Pink Floyd and Black Sabbath and that kind of stuff. So I grew up a lot with Sabbath and already heavier music.
Nice.
And then on the flip side, which my mom also listened to some of that stuff too. But she also, she was more grew up in the 90s and stuff. So she was a huge fan of underground hip hop and, A Tribe Called Quest, Rage Against the Machine, that kind of stuff. And they're both deadheads. So that's why I'm named Jerry.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
So it was just always huge musical, just so much different types of music going on as a kid.
And where are you at on the Dead scale? Are you?
I love the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
a lot of people, I feel like Jerry Garcia as a guitar player doesn't get enough credit because no one has truly been able to emulate his style, and he totally took, made a whole new language, out of that thing. So I love them. I think they're great.
Cool. How about you, Alex? What are your what's your origin story with music?
Going back to the earliest point would be just being a little kid, and my oldest sister, she was in high school at the time. So kind of the mainstream music at the time was rap, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, and all that stuff was really commercial at the time. So I just thought it was, cool, whatever she was listening to. But yeah, I just remember falling in love with certain beats. I didn't understand anything they were rapping about, but it was always just whatever the beat was, if it was pulling me in, that was my earliest memories of getting into music. And kind of side by side with that, playing the PlayStation 1 and early Nintendo games, just the soundtracks from them. Yeah. I remember having my Game Boy Color and playing Donkey Kong Country and just pausing the game and listening to the loop of the music,
The soundtrack to it, right? Yeah.
So
see, it's weird because guys like me, we had Atari. What was the very first Atari? The 606 or what the hell was it called? The 76. I mean, the one. That was it, man. That was all we had, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have much in the
not too much soundtrack yet.
Yeah, now these soundtracks are insane. They're
oh, incredible
orchestrated things. I mean, my kid Lauren loves the Link. What's Link? What is that?
Zelda.
Legend of Zelda. Yeah.
Loves the Zelda stuff.
It's been my whole life playing the new one.
Exactly.
I bonded over that actually.
Yeah.
Video games.
Nice.
Yep.
How about tell me, both of you, and Alex, I'll go with you on this one first. Tell me a little bit about growing up. When did you first pick up the guitar? Was it your first instrument, or was it piano lessons first, or drums, or and then the progression maybe through to where you got really serious about it? Because we all know we rarely pick up the guitar and get serious about it for a while. Most of us don't. Most of us are like our older brother. Or our in my case, it was my stepfather had one, and I heard Gordon Lightfoot and Charlie Rich and these, 70s artists. I'm trying to learn Puff the Magic Dragon, and I'm it hurts my fingers, man. I can't do it, So what's your story? And then Jerry, then you.
Sure. Yeah. I actually started on the bass. which in retrospect I think is really cool because like when I first started playing guitar, just chords and everything like that was really intimidating. So I think it was cool that I started on bass and just got down like, I don't know, just more kind of simple songs like that. So I played bass for about a year, and then I found myself like getting really kind of antsy if I was playing like a Guns N' Roses track or Metallica, and then the guitar solo would come. I thought that was like the greatest part of the song. And it's just like, man, I want to learn how to do that because that's like to me the coolest thing.
Were you playing fingerstyle or pick?
My instructor only showed us fingerstyle. Yeah,
nice.
He's kind of a no pick kind of guy on the
Absolutely.
bass. Yeah. So I played bass for like a year and then started taking guitar lessons for a little bit. And yeah, pretty much, right when I started playing guitar, I loved the bass, but the second I started playing guitar.
So how old were you here at this point when you started?
Oh yeah, I started on guitar when I was like 12. Yeah. But immediately I just like started writing riffs. Like that was not something I really did on the bass, just something about playing the guitar. Like, I felt more inspired, to be creative on it. And, so I was serious about it from the get-go, but I got like really serious about my playing and trying to get more, I don't know, like professional sounding. By the time I was like 17 or 18, that's when I really tried to start like working on technique and cleaning up my playing and making it sound good for recordings.
Did you get any like band stuff happening in high school, junior high?
Yeah. I played in a few bands. Yeah. Nothing too serious, but we'd play shows and write music, and we're really passionate about it.
So were you the guy that everybody's like, oh, we got to get Alex, man, because he can shred? Or were you the guy that was kind of like, because there's always that dude, right? There's always that guy that you find out, you're like, man, that guy fucking rips, man. Like, we got to get him to come to our band. Were you that guy or not? Be honest.
Maybe like a little bit. I've always been shy, so I didn't like put myself out there much. But I do remember playing like my first local show with a band that had been playing for a few years. So like people would come out and see them. And then, the night I played and I was like their new guitar player. Then everyone's like, oh, who's this kid? Where'd he come from? So that kind of like kickstarted it for me and got me.
You're doing covers, I assume, right? A lot of covers.
No, it was originals, man.
Oh,
yeah,
original?
Wow. I was like neoclassical power metal-y thrash stuff.
Yngwie Malmsteen sort of stuff, or
not as gnarly, but on that, like in that realm, more riffy, less shreddy, but yeah.
Okay.
Plenty of shred as well. Yeah, that was like my first real band, Chains of Atlas.
And then what was it called?
Chains of Atlas.
Chains of Atlas. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought you said Chains of Alice. I'm like, might be some issues there. Just saying. Jerry Cantrell may have something to say about that. Chains of Atlas. Very cool. I like that. I like that name. The one thing I wanted to say there when you said that you started playing bass, because 9 times out of 10, bass players generally are the guy that everybody else in the band says, hey, dude, you're a good guitar player, but you're not a great guitar player. Why don't you play bass?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, unless you're like Jocko or you're Getty or you're, or Roger Patterson or, something like that. You're usually the guy that's relegated to bass because you couldn't quite cut it with 6. We're paring it down to 4, right? Or 5 these days. But the thought that I had there was kind of neat that you got started with, using finger style bass playing as opposed to pick, because that translates a lot better to guitar, in my opinion, because then you can start finger picking, guitar, right? A lot easier. Do you play a lot of finger style guitar?
I do. I think like finger style guitar is a little different, on the bass. I was mainly just rocking the bass. With finger style classical guitar, it's kind of a different technique overall. But yeah, I see what you're saying, because it was already like, it wasn't completely foreign to me using my fingers.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jerry, how about you? Tell me your kind of progression through. Like, was guitar your first thing, or?
Yeah, so guitar was definitely my first instrument. I picked it up maybe when I was around like 4 years old. And I had been like, my dad played when I was growing up. So as a little baby, there's photos of me, hitting all the strings and whatnot, and just being a toddler and just so immersed in it. But yeah, when I was about 4, I saw Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii, and that film, I don't know what it did, but it changed like just how I felt about everything, and it was weird. It was like gaining self-awareness at such a young age.
Really? Yeah,
and,
sure.
Yeah, and so like like I said, my dad was already playing, so I've always been playing. I don't really remember not playing. And yeah, so I just would put on whatever music my parents had and would try to play along with it. Oftentimes improvising my own parts and almost as if I was another member of the band. And
So
yeah,
you had guitars. You had guitars around the house then.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So I had like I said, like my dad played, so it was like, there was an acoustic, there was an electric, and I really fell in love with the electric. But yeah, I don't know, it just kind of came naturally for me. I don't really remember struggling or, having difficulty picking it up. It was just like, oh, I can already do this. Like, I don't know, it was weird. So, although I do remember using my dad's acoustic, and I was too small to hold it up
Right.
at that age, so I played it flat on my lap like Jeff Healey.
Oh, you'd lay back like this?
No, like I would sit straight.
Oh, on the laps, like a lap
and I would
steel.
put it flat on my lap. And
Wow.
that's how I started trying to play. And so like I would, and I remember I used to hold my pick differently, and so I would just like try and do it that way. And then when I got a little older, I remember my dad trying to lift it up, and I was like, my arms are hanging over.
No way. That's funny.
But yeah, so yeah, it's always been a thing. But I've always played other instruments too. I was like really, fascinated with other, not so much of just like one instrument. It was more of like the whole musical thing. So whether it was drums or bass or keyboards, whatever it was, like I always kind of was like, what can how can all these work together? So I feel like that translates into my guitar playing a little bit too. Where sometimes I hold back and whatever works best for the music in the moment.
Well, do you remember your first songs you ever like really learned to play?
Yeah, honestly it was like Black Sabbath, Iron Man, of course. It's like just like catchy riff. I learned. I will say my dad taught me how to learn Bike by Pink Floyd. So it's like a Sid era.
Oh, that's a weird one, yeah.
And it was just moving down chromatically, kind of,
Right.
or not Bike.
Astronomy.
But
Which
yeah,
song? I'm sorry.
Interstellar Overdrive.
Oh, Interstellar, yeah.
Yeah, and then and honestly, probably like Echoes or something. I remember just the Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii. That was the first real like music thing I remember falling in love with and just trying to learn it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so there's some of my early songs as a little, delinquent.
How about you, Alex? You remember your first song?
I totally do. Yeah, the first bass song I ever learned was Wrathchild by Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Because sick intro. And then
oh man.
Yeah.
Learning Steve Harris as a young kid, like first thing, that's pretty epic right there.
Oh dude, Maiden was the most fun stuff to play on the bass. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then on guitar, I remember like when I first got my guitar, the only thing I knew was like power chords, and I knew how to play like Rock You Like a Hurricane on the bass, and I knew the riff was like the same. So I was like, well, if I just do the same thing but as power chords, so that was the first track I ever learned on the guitar.
Nice. That's cool. How about excuse me. How about what other instrument? Well, obviously, Alex, you play bass. So do you feel like you're a pretty proficient bass player? I would imagine you probably are.
Yeah, I don't like play it regularly like I do with the guitar. So I think like technique wise, I'm probably not as crazy as like a lot of modern bass players, but I still love to play and still record like bass for my own project and stuff.
What else do you play? Do you play drums, or do you play piano or keys, or are you on it?
I can I can bullshit on the drums. I'm not a real drummer, but I can like jam. Piano, I really want to learn. I can kind of mess around on it, but
plunk around, find chords, right?
Yeah, I can, improv on all the white keys. There's no wrong.
How about you, Jerry?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty decent at bass. Jasmine's the bass player of Age of Death, and
Right.
we actually write a lot of the bass parts together. And they kind of come almost first, or earlier on, rather than like, just the guitar riffs and then whatever. So we both do a lot of that together, but I love playing, a lot of the Steve DiGiorgio kind of stuff, like, the finger style stuff. Like that's my
not reaching high at all, of course.
Yeah. But no, so I like that stuff a lot. I'm kind of the same with Alex. Like I can bullshit on the drums, like I can do Bill Ward stuff, but other than that, and I would never call myself a drummer, but I definitely have like ideas in mind when I'm writing music, and I try to translate them through my mouth to others, but just for certain
Yeah, I'm a super failed drummer. If I can I can barely keep a 4/4 beat together. It's like, no. I mean, it's something about the hands and feet working, independent of one another. I'm just a mess at. But I mean, I can do other stuff on the guitar. I can play the bass pretty well. Can play the piano and keys a little bit. But boy, man, drumming, you'd never want me to fill in on drumming because it's going to be like, hey, dudes, like this is it right here. Tell me a little bit, both of you, about those formative high school bands. Alex, you touched on a little bit. Where was the first time that you felt like, okay, we got something cool going here? And was it, high school? Was it college? Was it, did you go to college? Did you go to music school? Tell me a little bit about that. And Jerry, then you can jump in then.
Yeah, I mean, even like Dessiderium, my solo project that I still do, like I was doing that back in high school. So I was really serious about it then. It's just kind of hard to find a band for it, when you're like 15 and trying to find people to play like your 15-minute songs. Most people aren't down. So we did play a couple shows. I finally found some members, but so I was very serious about music. The other bands, I loved playing in them. I don't think I saw them as like a long-term thing as much.
Right, long-term options.
Yeah. So my first serious band was in when I did go to college out in Arizona. After a few years of living here, I found a band. It was a guy's solo project at the time, but we turned it into a band, and it was called Nulling Roots. And that was like the first serious band I played in. We like played with the intent of, putting out albums, and we released one album under Prosthetic Records. So that was my first time being with a label.
What was the band again? Say it again.
It's called Nulling Roots, Nulling, then Roots.
Nulling Roots. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then from there, after I played with them, I joined Arkaik, and then that was kind of like a step up, more serious touring and doing all this sort of thing. So that all went down in like 2016, 2017.
It's a fairly new kind of thing for you guys to some extent, right? As far as the touring, the more professional realm of doing this. So
6 years, 5 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing too, it's kind of interesting because like I literally have cassettes of Fostech 4-track shit that I did back in the 80s and late 80s and 90s without digital recording. It was a lot more of a process. It was a lot more involved. You didn't have plugins. You had the mic amps. You had the mic acoustics. You had the, and a lot of times you were doing it like in fucking living rooms. You weren't doing it in, a proper studio or anything like that. So I have old demos that I listen back to. I'm like, man, some of this shit's all right. And then I listen to some of them and go, this is absolutely awful. What the hell? I mean, some of my early noodlings on guitar, I'm like, whoa. And then I listen to other stuff. I'm like, ooh, God, that's cringy as fuck. It's like I'll hit like 3 bad notes and I'll be like, wow. Like I still hit bad notes because, I'm not you guys. But Jerry, how about you? What kind of?
So I had always kind of written my own music along with playing stuff. So I was always just inspired to kind of write my own material. And I had some bands in middle school, honestly, that I formed. And a lot of my main group of friends were all kids that lived the next town over from me. So I was like kind of like the metalhead kid at my school. But I met all these other dudes, and they were all also into the same kind of stuff as I was, and so we started teaching. Like all of us were like teaching each other everything we knew. So I started this band called Morbid Vitality. Probably when I was like 12. That was like maybe the first real.
That's so weird. I was 12 and I started my first metal band.
I know. I feel like such an ass when I say that. But so it was me and my friend Ray, who has done like almost every band with me, and he plays in Ancient Death with me, to this day. So it's like we formed like a really strong musical bond that just, we know it's really special, and we're best friends. So it's like we just want to keep creating and also just pushing each other. So we had done that for a little while, and I mostly wrote the material for that. And he had another project called Garroted that I did. I was in that band for maybe 6 or 7 years. And so we continued on with that once Morbid Vitality was over. And that was kind of my main band. And we had done like 2 tours, down the East Coast, down to Florida. That was like my first taste of kind of playing out more in a more serious non-party settings.
Right.
But yeah, I've kind of always done bands, and if not, I've just always writing music.
Well, speaking of that, writing music, when did you guys both start kind of messing around with whatever you use, whether it's GarageBand or Logic or Pro Tools or whatever you've got, Cubase, whatever? When did you start doing that, Jerry?
I will say
he was 6 years old, probably.
Yeah, I was 6 years old, man. Right? No, I'm not gonna lie or anything. Like, I'm really bad with the Pro Tools. Like, I don't know really how to use any of the technology kind of stuff.
Dumbass right here, dumbass.
Everyone always talks about plugins and all this weird stuff, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I just kind of always been old school and just amp and whatever, and the head and just the guitar. And so anything I've recorded, it's always been with others, at whether it's a studio. I've always like mostly recorded just analog. And I think that's also just kind of the music I like is recorded that way a lot of the time. I mean, in some stuff I've done digitally, I guess. Like if someone's there with me that knows what they're doing, I got you. But if you were to just give me something, I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Like, yeah, what the fuck do I do now? I got you. I'm right there with you, Jerry. Don't feel bad. Yeah. I have an excuse though. I'm very old. You're not. So just saying that. Nick, my buddy Nick from Thralls of Metal. I don't know if you guys know that channel. Nick, they did the Till the Dirt review last week, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I think you may have met Nick out in Detroit. He was in Detroit. Maybe. I don't know if he said hello or talked to you.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone. He's a dick. Just saying. But anyway.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, of course. No, Nick, he's saying he heard the Garroted and
dude,
thought it was really good stuff. So that's cool.
Thank you so much.
Alex, how about you? You're way smarter than us, I can tell. So
I wouldn't say smarter. I'm just the opposite of Jerry. So like
you're super techie.
I'll just always done digital stuff. Like my first experience recording was getting it's called the Pod UX2 Line 6.
Oh, dude, I have the OG fucking kidney bean pod, man.
Oh, the real small one?
No.
Or that? Well, yeah, it's probably the same one, man. Yeah,
it's the pod, the thing, not the pod that goes in the rack. It's the pod that looks like a kidney bean.
Yeah, I think
that's like 2000, dude. Yeah. I thought that was like the tits. I was like, this thing is so tits. It's awesome. Yeah. I listen to it now. It's like the worst fucking tone ever coming out of an
pretty rough.
But
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think it's the same one I used, and it came with like a trial version of Ableton. So
okay,
it's like comical when I think back to how I first recorded because I didn't know what I was doing. Like I didn't know how to punch in. So if I was recording like a 10-minute song, I'd try to play the whole thing. Have a mistake like 7 minutes in, be like, oh, got to do it again, yeah. A couple of years after that, though, I was like, all right, I need to learn a more efficient way of recording. So I downloaded Reaper, and I've just been using Reaper ever since. I upgraded from a pod to my Axe FX, and
That's a big jump, dude. That's a huge jump.
been using that for a long time now. So almost 10 years, Axe FX, Reaper. That's all I do. But yeah, so like Jerry helped me out with the Atheist stuff because we weren't going digital. You know, we were using real heads and real cabs, real pedals. So he really helped me out, set up all that stuff because I'm used to just going Axe FX.
I will say
you're used to dialing it all in digitally as opposed to, and it's a big difference, man. I mean, using analog pedals versus whether you're going through effects loop or before the head or whatever, your preamp stage, it's a whole different animal, man. I mean, and I struggle with a lot of that stuff. Like Jerry, I'm not speaking for you, Jerry, but I'm just repeating what you said, that I just am like, fuck, this is too much for my head, man. And then I feel stupid. But I bought Logic. It was like the student edition of Logic back in like 09 or 08 or something like that. Dude, I sat there, like, bought the manual and everything, and I'm like, I tried for like 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I'm functionally fucking dumb. I'm just dumb. I don't get it. And I still struggle with it. I'm getting better, but but it's one of those things. So, tell me real quick, and then we'll move on to the band stuff. I want to play some of your material, and then we'll talk about Atheist, Till the Dirt, and all that kind of stuff. What was your first? You mentioned Black Sabbath, Jerry. Is that the first metal band you recall hearing, or is there something that really stands out? Like, because a lot of, that's not, it's metal. They're the godfathers of metal, but it's kind of proto metal in a lot of ways. It's not Priest and new wave of British heavy metal and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Deep Purple's kind of heavy metal, but it's more proto. What's your first memories of like real metal?
Well, it's weird. I kind of have like, my feelings on Sabbath are like they were just the heaviest band ever at that time, and like like there's no heavier riff than like Children of the Grave, so it's like, to me that's just like pure metal and like just the pure energy, and up into all those albums, but my dad was also like huge into a lot of other stuff too, so it's like I was exposed to Slayer and all that stuff too, so it's like I was a really young kind of kid, exposed to metal pretty early on, but I was probably about, like, in terms of death metal stuff and kind of where my life has gone musically since, I was probably about like 11. The first time I heard death, I heard the song Evil Dead from Scream Bloody Gore, and my friends and I, like I said, like I'd already listened to Sabbath and Slayer and Pantera and all that stuff, so my ears were a little more open to it already.
Yeah, you were ready to go there, right?
But I was just like, whoa, that vocal style was just holy shit. So I was about 11, I think, when I discovered death metal.
Who's this guy in the chat here? Who is this dude?
Hey. King Kelly.
We'll be talking shit about that guy later, just saying. Dude, I mean, I'm old enough that when I first heard Deicide, Morbid Angel, Death, all those bands, I'm like, yeah, the music's cool, but man, those vocals suck. Right. That was because I came from Queensryche and Fates Warning and Rush and stuff like that, which are still all my favorite bands, but I was not ready for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I've told Kelly this. I first heard Atheist, I'm like, this is fucking bonkers. Like, it's bonkers. Like, what the fuck? And Roger was insane, Rand Berkey was insane, Steve Flynn insane. Man, I just could not dig the vocals for the longest time.
Oh man,
it took me until Opeth's Blackwater Park, which finally opened me up, and I was like, oh, okay, I've really been missing stuff. And then I went back. Yeah. I had the Cynic album. I had Focus for a couple years. I'm like, first of all, the vocoder vocals, I'm like, the vocoder, what kind of weirdness is this? This is lame. Yeah. And then Tony Teagarden's, death vocals, which are really great. But at the time, I'm like, I can't get into this shit. I struggled with death metal for a good 10 years. I just I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
As a musician, I love the music, but I could not get the vocals. It took Steven Wilson. I don't know if you know who Steven Wilson is, guys, but
Yeah.
Big fan.
I'm used to work kind of for Porcupine Tree way back in the day, their management.
Awesome.
And Steve was like, dude, you like Frontline Assembly and Skinny Puppy, but you don't like death metal vocals? Doesn't make any sense. It kind of got me kind of clued in that I was using internal biases to like turn that stuff away. And I finally opened up to it with Mike and Opeth, and it was like, I still think Mike's growls at that period of time were the best that ever came. Kelly's got a different vibe. He's not a growler. He's more of a screamer.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a black metal thing and kind of a shriekier kind of vocal, which I like a lot, but I just was not into, and I'm not, just because he's in the chat, I'm not specifically talking about him. I'm just talking about, Glenn Benton and Trey, David Vincent and all those guys. I just didn't get it. So how about you, Alex? Where did you come from on the extreme metal? Like, when did it finally kick in for you?
Yeah, I had the same experience as you. So I got into thrash metal first. I would say like Anthrax. The first time I heard Cotton Amash, that's when I like suddenly overnight became a metalhead. And then I got really into thrash metal. But same thing you were just saying, like every time I'd listen to like Cannibal Corpse or any death metal band, I just like felt disgusted by like the vocal style. And I don't know what, it was just like so over the top to me and just like brutal sounding. I don't know. I didn't like it. It was like offensive to my ears. But in a way it was such a like shock to my system that I kept coming back to check it out just to be like, like a bad smell you can't stop smelling. And then it just like kind of grew on me over time. And I would say Children of Bodom was the first band that kind of like how you were saying Blackwater Park got you into it. Children of Bodom's Follow the Reaper was the one where I was like, God, the music's just so good. I'm not even noticing the harsh vocals. After that, I kind of like got into the vocal style itself.
All right, throwing Atheist out of the equation because we kind of have to. You can suck up if you want since he gives you paychecks at various times. But what's your favorite band? Like what's your favorite death metal band if you had to pick one? And I know that sucks. That's a hard question to ask, or answer. But like, given your experience now, 10, 12 years in or whatever, what would you say is your favorite death metal band, Jerry?
So I don't want to say it's one band because I feel like a lot of bands kind of touch on different textures and things that I like about heavier, more aggressive styles. And, I know although we're playing for Atheist, I'm going to include them in it because, I'm a fan first. So it was like, those like middle death records where they got, more technical, Cynic, Atheist, Sadist, Nocturnus, like more things that were kind of wacky. And I think it was like more because I liked a lot of proggier music as a kid too, like I loved the early Floyd stuff. So, it was just like it always pushed boundaries. I always appreciated that. But also for me, lyrics were really important. And I feel like extremely important. And I feel like a lot of, especially the more aggressive death metal stuff, a lot of it gets overlooked. And, I'm a fan of like, the satanic stuff and the gory stuff too. So I don't want to knock that. But for me, it was always like these people that were, just being very introspective and vulnerable. It really related and resonated with me when I was younger and kind of struggling. So reading things like the formative years from Atheist really changed my view on things, or the eagle nature from Cynic and all that kind of stuff. So the more I would say the like Gorguts, like that kind of stuff, like I don't want to say necessarily tech death bands, but more bands that from the late 80s, early 90s that were more technical. And they're playing more progressive. To me, that was always like those are the best bands. So
would you call those bands primarily your greatest influence on your playing and your
absolutely
development as a guitar player?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discredit the other stuff too, because like Floyd is a huge one for me. Like that
Gilmore.
will always be like probably my biggest influence. Sabbath, of course, and all that stuff. But yeah, in terms of the heavier stuff, I liked bands that kind of just pushed the envelope, and they were just like, we don't need to play just like, you know, in a box. We can kind of make this more than just a label. So those bands I've always appreciated a lot. But yeah, for sure.
Real quick, Alex, I'll get to you in a sec on that same question. But so Gilmore, you said, are there other non-metal guys that really influence your playing? Like, for example, I'm a metal dude, but man, Frank Marino, Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Uli Roth, you know, these are all guys that I fucking love. You know, they are in my DNA as a player. How about you?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of being younger, it was Gilmore and Tony Iommi and that, you know, Alex Lifeson, like those kind of players.
How did I miss that guy? That guy is like my favorite guy. That's the guy that got me playing guitar.
I feel like just those kind of guitar players really resonated with me at a young age. And also in like my teenage years, I was huge into, you know, the more shoegazy stuff, which I kind of separated from for a little bit, and I came back and I, you know, like have a new appreciation and love for it. So a lot of players like Neil Halstead from Slowdive, you know, Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine,
Robert Smith and The Cure,
Mickey and Emma from Lush in particular are a huge influence on me. So those kind of players too that weren't always just shreddy, they were kind of, you know, making more atmospheres and kind of really creating just, you know, a landscape of almost like a dream landscape, you know. So I definitely have to credit those kind of artists also.
Nate is asking, with lyrics being important, I hope Jerry digs Rush. I'm gonna guess maybe a little.
I love Rush. I love classic Rush, and yeah, they're a huge, one of my favorite bands for sure.
Nate, you should remember they closed the set with A Piece of Time, and the very final little bit is the closing of this is so bad, man. Like you wrapped up with a da 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 da, and I'm like, I look at Lauren, I'm like, they just did Rush. I can't remember what song it is.
Yeah,
I'm like, I thought it was La Via Strangiato. I'm like, what kind of you guys don't understand? Rush is my holy. It's that's it, right? I'm going to show you guys something in a little bit that'll blow your mind. But they're my band. I've seen them 50. I saw them 56 times in my life.
Wow, holy shit, man!
That's
yes,
awesome.
I go all the way back to 1980 before both you guys were born.
Yeah.
So just that was Permanent Waves. Just imagine, it's the real deal with me.
Dude,
Alex is my god of all gods. Getty, you know, Neil, but it's like I felt like such a douche. I'm like, we walk outside and I say something to Kelly. I'm like, was that Rush? I think you were standing there, Alex, I believe. I'm like, was that Rush you guys closed it? I'm like, I'm so like out of it right now because I had a beer or two and I was a little bit not high.
Also being in the moment, you know, sometimes, you know, things
I was so stoked, you know, and like he's like, was that Rush? Really? You just the Rush fanatic just asked, was that Rush? I'm like, yeah, I couldn't make out. Was it what song? He's like, really, dude? Like, come on. Felt like such a nerd.
That's why we only played 2 seconds of it, so that's all.
Yeah. So how about you, Alex? We're gonna come back to you. First real metal influences. First, like into extreme metal, and the guitarists and musicians and the bands that kind of influenced your forward path.
Yeah, I've had for sure like different kind of landmark bands that had a huge impact on me. I would say first one was Megadeth, then Children of Bodom, then Winter Sun, Opeth, Devin Townsend, Emperor. I think those are the big names for me that have like really shaped my sound.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But how about guitar players then? Mustaine?
Well, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Mustaine, definitely. Just as a, like his songs, you know, they were just like riff fests, you know, it's just like Rust in Peace, Peace Cells. Like every song is just like oh, this is the greatest riff. Then it's followed by a riff that's even better than that, and then a better riff. It's insane. So he's huge. Michael from Opeth, Nikhil. Yeah, just as far as him being really like placing emphasis on just really beautiful chord progressions and like the most soulful, tasteful leads. So that was a huge influence. And then my favorite shredder ever is Yari from Winter Sun. He's very like Steve Vai kind of magic, but his music's really sick. Like I don't I don't love Steve Vai's actual music, but I love his playing. So it's kind of like hearing Steve Vai as like an extreme metal composer in a a
Yeah, I've watched
Those are
him
the big
play.
ones for me.
He's sick as fuck. I've never really gotten into music though. It's a little too.
You talking about Winter Sun?
Yeah, it's a little too flowery for me as far as like over the top orchestral. Don't take it personal. It's not a personal thing. I get it.
No, I love it for that reason. So I totally get
That's cool.
someone not liking it. It's super nerdy, but yeah, that's my style.
By the way, Nick, poser status confirmed. I know you're talking about me, and I know you're talking about Rush, and I have 2 words for you. These 2 words right there. So there you go. Talk about your individual bands a little bit now. I want to get into that before we get to the Atheist bit. We're going to keep old man Shaefer in the comments for a little while yet, because he wants to see if you're going to talk shit about him just a little bit. So, because we do want to do some tour stories a little bit. And how you guys doing? We're at 50 minutes. You think you can do about 45 to 50 minutes yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. So talk to me, Jerry. We'll start with you. A little bit about primarily your other major band, because Till the Dirt, we have to see if something transpires. Hopefully something's going to, as far as and whatnot. And you did not actually play on the album, correct?
No. So the album was recorded before I stepped in. Kelly wrote all that material and just like incredible. And he had the previous Atheist lineup had retracked certain parts and whatnot, and done the record or whatever. But he asked me to join in on live guitars, and then for now on actually be a part of the band. So the album came out last Friday, and it's been doing incredible. The reviews have been awesome, and it's cool for me because I'm not on the record, so I can approach it totally unbiased. It's really incredible stuff. It really just pushes the envelope even more, and it's really cool to see how he did that with Atheist, and how he can do that in a different way with another band. So I'm really grateful to be part of 2 bands with them, and we're looking forward to touring. Hopefully, and hitting the road and bringing these songs to a lot more people. So, we just see where life takes us.
And I think I heard Kelly talk. I forgot to ask him this, but Vicky said everything's in B standard, right?
No. Drop B. Yeah, drop B. Which is, it's actually kind of fun for me because I don't really play in drop tunings. I mean, I have and I can, but I don't typically. But I also play. I use like 7 strings for Ancient Death, and my lowest note is a B, so it's familiar. Familiar note for me.
Familiar territory for you.
But it's been really cool to learn this stuff. It's actually it's really challenging my way of playing. It's kind of like telling me not to do what I normally would. So that and all I want to do as a player is learn. So.
I think a lot of people kind of finally okay. Says okay, now I'm leaving. Again, he didn't want to hear. He just sent me a text message. He's probably like, "Fuck you, man."
Oh, I love it.
He wants you to speak freely, so he dipped out. Not that I think that was a big deal, but I actually asked him to jump in at the end, but he's like, nope, this is my dudes. This is their time to shine. So that kind of encapsulates what kind of a guy Kelly actually is, I think, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll talk about that a little bit more. I do want to, I don't always try to get on my knees for Kelly, but I do really, really, really thoroughly love the guy because he's just such a good human being, has such a great heart. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that Kelly played a lot of guitar on those earlier albums. And now it's because he doesn't play live and hasn't for quite a long time. I think people kind of forget that was instrumental in writing a lot of that material and was instrumental in the kind of direction of those songs, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's like, it's ironic, but that guy's a god, you know? Like he just like the fact that he could write those kind of lyrics and sing the way that he does while playing some of the weirdest, craziest riffs and also soloing because he solos too, you know, and just like it's incredible the stuff that guy's capable of. So you know, to have, you know, an idol who is a legend, you know, also be a peer and a friend and teacher, you know, it's like it's a really incredible thing for us.
Andrew, I will never lose my Rush fan cred, dude. I'm old and I just mixed a riff up. Come on, man. I got it together. You know, you'll get there someday too if you're lucky. So just anyways, yeah, so talk about Ancient Death, because that's kind of your main other project, right?
Yeah, so yeah, we
and we're gonna play a song after you and Alex both go. We'll play songs by Ancient Death and by Dessiderium. So
yeah, absolutely. Ancient Death I formed in 2019 with my buddy Ray from my childhood, my best friend Jasmine, and we have one of my really good friends Derek on drums. So I had been writing some of that material maybe as far back as when I was 14 or 15, and it didn't at the time feel like it really translated well into what I was doing with Garroted. So I had, you know, just continued to work on certain music and kind of keep it aside. And I decided that I really wanted to, you know, be more vulnerable and, you know, make a style of, you know, authentic music for myself that I would love to listen to. So that's kind of, you know, where it started.
What were your main influences for that project? Because as I said, I listened to the EP and I really heard some cool kind of Bauhaus, Joy Division / Cure like vibes. I heard a little bit of Spectral Voice from, you know, DI guys a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then I heard a little bit more standard Morbid Angel, sort of the riffier parts were a little bit more Morbid Angel-y. So
yeah, I mean, for me, like I would say our music's pretty like, you know, if you're a fan of like Autopsy, Death, Pink Floyd, Lush, Disembowelment, like anything from like those kind of bands, I think you can, you know, really approach, you know, the music however you want. But it's weird. Like I didn't really write any of the music to try and emulate any other bands. For me, it was always just being authentic. Sure. And I wanted to pull in all these different influences I have. But from, you know, and also I just like creating textures and atmospheres. I think like bands like, you know, the Deftones really do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like Joy Division, Lush, like post-punk stuff. Even like, you know, stuff like Talk and Bark Psychosis, where they're these dreamy landscapes. To me, that's like, it's like, how can you incorporate that while, you know, sharing my love for the heavier stuff? So that's kind of just how I approached it. I didn't really think like, oh, it's got to sound like this and this. It was just what felt natural to me, and I guess that's just what I naturally listened to. So
you seem to have a very wide palette, because you just mentioned one of my all-time favorite bands, which is Talk. Just
Spirit of Eden,
fucking blowing. How amazing! You know, they come from a synth band, a post-punk synth band, which, by the way, that 82 album is almost untouchable for synth pop. Okay, it's just amazing.
Absolutely.
But then they end up something a million miles away from it that doesn't even resemble synth pop or even pop music. It's this experimental jazz sort of atmospheric thing that you can't even put in. They called it post rock, but frankly,
it's
It's
own
not even
thing,
that.
you
It's
know?
something
Like,
different than that, you know?
yeah, that Spirit of Eden record for me is really, really important, and it's I can't state how important that is to the music world. It's just truly like its own thing.
It's one of those things, if you know, you know, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, bands like that, just who are unapologetically themselves. To me, that's if as long as it's real and genuine to those players, then it's good enough for me. But those are kind of my main influences, I guess, for that kind of stuff.
Killer. How about you, Alex?
What is the question again? Sorry.
Oh shit! What was the question? What's the influences primarily? You already talked about Winter Sun, so that's obviously one. Children of Bodom. But as far as your two projects with Arkaik, which you're with someone else, that's a band, whereas Dessiderium is your project, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about both those projects and talk about the influences, the things that you're pulling from to create. Because look, we know this. Nobody in the rock metal world ever just comes up with something that's 100% like so different that everybody goes, well, where'd this come from? I mean, we all pull from influences. It has to happen.
Oh yeah. No, I wear my influences proudly on my sleeves.
Exactly.
Yeah. For Dessiderium, early Opeth is a huge influence, like first 5, maybe 9 albums, when they were still the kind of early Opeth stuff. Yeah, Winter Sun's huge. Another band kind of similar to Winter Sun called Balsagoth. Lots of video game music, honestly. To me, that's the attraction to like Winter Sun and Balsagoth, is they sound like video game soundtracks in metal form. Throw Ensiferum in there too, the first 2 albums. Honestly, a lot of hip hop is a big influence on me. You wouldn't guess that when you first hear it, but like when I mute all the guitars and I program the synths, to me it's like creating a hip hop loop, like a beat, something kind of hypnotic and mesmerizing. So yeah, Dessiderium, I mean, I pull from all kinds of stuff: soul music, R&B. It honestly rarely comes from like a very metal place. It's just very melodic and like soulful music played through metal instrumentation. And then Arkaik, yeah, that band has been around since I was like 10, so they already had a sound in place, very modern technical death metal.
Do you write in there, or is it primarily someone else that writes?
When I joined, the last album that came out, I wrote a good amount of that one. So that's our album, Labyrinth of Hungry Ghosts. I wrote a big chunk for that. So that was kind of me like being influenced by the band's previous albums and then kind of mixing it with my own sound as well. So it's maybe a little more melodic than previous Arkaik stuff, but it's still got
Alex,
that real.
You mentioned a bunch of several black metal bands, symphonic black metal bands. Obviously, the Kings probably, or Emperor. How about you, Jerry? Are you a black metal guy too, as well?
I like some stuff. Yeah, I'm more a fan of like a lot of the older kind of early 90s stuff, I guess.
Right.
Mid 90s, like Emperor, Dissection, Mayhem, Dark Throne, like that kind of stuff. But I've always gravitated more towards death metal. But I love a whole bunch of that stuff. So, I'm definitely a fan of like the first wave for sure, like Merciful Fate, that Venom, Bathory.
Either of you guys like Enslaved?
I love Enslaved.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've listened to them, so I don't really have an opinion anymore.
Man, that my favorite album, which a lot of people are like, what? Which you would love, Jerry, I think, is Monumention. Very Floydian, very proggy, very
they
it's
got
like
super
Rush
prog
mixed with black metal and Floyd. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've listened or discovered a lot of black metal bands, other than the few I've stated.
They're cool, man, because their first couple albums were like total first wave. Like, Jerry, if you check out the album Frost,
without the Satanism,
so raw.
Without the satanic bullshit, what I mean?
Exactly. And I think that was attractive to me early on. And then, like you said, they got so progressive later. They're kind of like to me they're like the equivalent of Opeth, but with black metal rather than progressive death metal.
Yeah,
Malia is one of my good friends. She's in the metal community, and she says, I like these boys. Very diverse music taste. As great as metal is, they don't just stick to metal. Yeah, that's cool. Malia and I are gonna talk about TNT one of these days, aren't we, Malia? Ronnie Latecro. Come on now. All right. Let's transition a little bit here. Let's do a little listening to some of your music that's outside of what you're doing with Atheist. And then we're going to talk about the whole Atheist trip and the Cynic tour, and then we'll kind of wrap up. Sound good?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to screw up, but just bear with me a minute. And I'm just picking the first one that comes up, which is Shadow Burn by Dessiderium.
Cool.
And you guys got to let me know if you can hear it playing. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll be right back, guys.
I'll be right back too.
First we went for a blood. Take me to
Damn. So I guess the obvious first question I have is, was that you singing?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude. Man. Shades of Isan and all the great black metal singers there, but I don't get it. I don't know how you guys do that, man. I try that and it's like I can't talk for 6 weeks afterwards if I try to do that shit. So how do you do that?
I'm not like trained to do it. So when I record, it's like very small bits at a time because that's why when I play this stuff live, I have a friend doing the vocals because I like.
Oh, okay.
I could do it for like 10 minutes and then I like have to stop. So that's something I've been trying to do more. It's like practice so I can like do it more properly. But yeah, if it sounds like my throat is getting shredded, it's because
it's interesting because we talk about Opeth a lot here, and back in the day, in the the My Arms Your Hearse era through Ghost Reveries, I don't think there was a better death metal vocalist.
He's always been one of my favorites too.
Mike's growl was just epic, and I happen to know Mike a little bit, and I've hung out with him many times back in the PT era, especially when they did the co-headlining tour, which I saw like 10 shows on or something like that. I got to hang out with him. I'm like, how do you do that? He says, I smoke a lot of these. And I'm like, oh, smoking cigarettes. And now he doesn't smoke anymore, and he doesn't sound the same. He does not sound the same.
Yeah. No, I've heard the same thing. Like my buddy who, he doesn't smoke anymore either. But yeah, I've heard people who smoke cigarettes say that like almost helps them get the kind of more distortion.
Gets that rasp and that growl, but yet when you're doing the, I've tried it and I'm just like, I can't do it. I just don't know how to do it. Although I remember Wilson telling me that the way that Blackwater Park in particular, he got a lot of those vocal tones was Michael was not really, it wasn't this guttural, it was more of a whisper scream sort of thing. It was more of a, like a really hoarse, like whisper. And I still don't get it because if I tried it at all, it just roaches my throat entirely. So that was really cool, man. And you had a couple comments in there saying, I dig it and I'm going to check it out. So guys, I don't have the links in there yet because I didn't have all the info yet from Jerry, in particular Alex. So I will add the links to their Bandcamps after the stream tonight, but I'll get all that in there. Don't worry. I do have their Instagrams and Facebook, so that's a way to at least before I get there to check it out. So Jerry, how about we jump into your song now? Okay.
All right.
We're going to do Ancient Death here. Give me a minute. And we are going to do the track, excuse me, Labyrinths of Self-Reflection.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can hear it. Yeah. I'm digging this. Hold on. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Man, you two guys are sick talent. Jerry, that was sick. I gotta be honest with you.
Thanks, man.
I might have missed that when I listened to the stuff I listened to on YouTube because I didn't have a chance to go to the Bandcamp. I listened to the 9 Minutes song, and there was one other one out there. Whoa, hang on. That was sick, dude. That's you singing.
Yeah. Yep.
Get the
And
fuck
playing
out.
guitar.
I love those little bendy, almost they sound like slides, but they're not. They're bent notes, right? You're bending into them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bend. It's weird. It's actually from a lot of those shoegaze bands, but yeah.
What
like
tuning? What tuning?
That's in B, but
Okay.
7-string B. But yeah, it's like bending down the tremolo, bending up. From
that's sick. And Alex, yours is much more the, clearly Jerry's got the old school death metal thing going on there with a lot of unique sort of Floydian atmosphere and the weird sort of, like I said, the Bauhausian stuff. Yours is much more the Children of Bodom, the kind of the Winter Sun sort of cool black metal-y thing, right?
Real symphonic, yeah.
Yeah,
symphonic. That's the word I was looking at.
Dessiderium tune, man. That was so sick.
But it's sick, dude. It's so sick. And I will put the links to your Bandcamps in there for all your projects, and I'll take care of that. I just didn't have time before we got started. Wow, man.
Thanks.
Holy shit. That is fucking killer. Now, Jerry, the EP there, Sacred Vessel, that's the one that's on Necroharmonic?
Yeah, and Necroharmonic and Rotter Records.
All right, I'll put those links out too, because you said they're all gone from Bandcamp.
The ones that all our CDs are sold out now.
And it's all CDs, no vinyl, right? No splits or
no vinyl. I think there's plans to release vinyl, and hopefully the not so distant future. But the labels might have CDs still. But
yeah. Great stuff by both of you guys, man. Super impressive, but not shocking after what I saw with you guys with Atheist. So let's get to that. Are we ready to get to that part?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So how, when, where, how, why, like what's going on? Like, how did that occur? Jerry, I'm going to let you bring up the tail end because your story is kind of unique with your relationship with Kelly, long-standing. Mm-hmm. Alex, why don't you tell me a little bit about how you were brought into the fold for Atheist? Like, how long ago? How did it occur? What kind of contact happened there? And tell me all about the story there.
Yeah, I think it was October.
I'm going to blow you up a minute.
What's that?
I'm going to blow you up.
Gotcha. There I am. Yeah. I think it was like October of last year, so like 2022. And Kelly was trying to put together like the full lineup because he wasn't sure if he'd have Yoav back in the lineup, the bass player. So my friend / like literally my bass instructor from when I was a kid, he was auditioning for the bass part. And I think he just sent Kelly some videos of me like playing archaic stuff and said he thought I'd be a good fit for it. And Kelly liked the videos, so he put me into contact with him. And obviously when I like heard it was Atheist, I was just like, holy shit, I've always would love to play in like a old school death metal band, real influential band. So it was an honor to even get to like audition. And I learned the songs he wanted me to learn like immediately, sent him videos, and got the thumbs up like pretty shortly after sending in the videos. So it was all really random and moved really fast. And
okay, so you say he sent you videos. What do you mean by that? Of him playing, or
so my friend who was going for the bass spot, he sent Kelly videos of me playing like archaic stuff, just so like Kelly could see how I play guitar. And he was digging it. So then we got into contact, like me and Kelly, and he gave me like 2 or 3 songs to learn from the Atheist catalog, and I wasted no time, like learned them immediately, sent him videos as fast as I could.
Okay, so you made videos of you playing the tracks then?
That was like my audition.
Okay. Like what were the 3 songs? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Incarnation's Dream was the first one. Then it was Water. And then I think those were the two main ones. And then he wanted to see me play like Brains, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. Once I got in videos for those, pretty much gave me the thumbs up.
And then
stoked.
so, initially, I guess you're reaching out through what, Instagram or email or something like that? Facebook?
Me?
Was
Like,
that?
how did I, sorry, what's the question?
Like,
how did I get it?
Like, how initially he reached out through what, Facebook or YouTube, or how did he connect?
So yeah, my buddy who was going for the bass spot, he was the one, he bridged the connection. So like he gave me Kelly's contact info. So I was like, yeah, Facebook.
Okay. Jerry, so tell me about your story, because it's kind of unique, because Kelly kind of intimated it to me. Like, how did you become involved in this?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, I got into death metal pretty young. So once I like discovered death and stuff, like I was saying, when I was like 11, from there I found Cynic, from listening to like Death's Human and finding out that Sean and Paul were a part of Cynic, and that kind of led me down into Atheist. And so I, as a young kid, was trying to learn that material at 11, 12 years old.
That's insane.
And eventually, when I was about maybe 14, I had added Kelly on Facebook, and I would cover Atheist songs, and mostly from Unquestionable Presence. That was like the album for me. And so then when I was about 16, he had asked if I wanted to join Atheist, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still in high school, man. Like, I can't." And he was like, he had no idea I was only 16 at the time. So I turned him down, even though it was one of my favorite bands. But even at that age, I was pretty self-aware, and I was like, I'm not ready for it yet. Like, I could play the material, but I'm a 16-year-old kid. I know I need to learn a lot, and so. Cross off a few more years, but when I was maybe 19 or 20, he had asked me again if I wanted to join, and I was going through, some early 20-year-old shit. So I also said no again. And then this time around, Atheist and Suffocation had done that tour together, and I went and saw that. I'm a huge fan of both bands, and Kelly saw me instantly, and he was like, "Jerry," and so we hung out all night and talked about setting up some Atheist and Ancient Death shows. And a couple months after that, he had told me that, like, "Hey, I need a new guitar player," and he's like, and I was like, "I'm ready, man. Like, now's the time. Like, I love this material, and it's like it's made for me. Like, I want to do it." So it was pretty easy then, so it was just, just us talking about it. I sent him a couple videos just to show him where I was at now as a player, and got in touch, just like, eventually with these guys, once Dylan and Alex came aboard, he got us all in touch. But yeah, so it's like I was kind of in it pretty quickly.
I had actually thought about asking you guys to reach out to Yoav and Dylan, but I thought, and I just want to keep it guitar this time. But it would have been cool to hear their perspectives too, because I think only Yoav was a holdover from the other band, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and by the way, Yoav is just so fun to watch.
Oh, he's nasty.
He's like a fucking Energizer bunny rabbit. I don't know how the fuck that guy plays like that.
Well, what was really cool is Yoav actually lives down the street from me, and so we're a part of kind of the same scene.
No way.
Yeah, we live like maybe 5-10 minutes away from each other.
Oh, that's crazy.
We already knew of each other and had met and stuff. So it was like, we're in similar scenes here. So it was really cool to get to develop a different kind of friendship with him. Especially being in the band. And
well, how did Dylan come in? I should let him tell, but can you guys?
I think it was the same kind of process.
Same concept.
Yeah, I think like there had been some drummers trying out, and instantly it was just kind of like Dylan's got the power and the chops, and
man,
he's just a great dude. So it came together pretty quickly, and we were pretty ready to go. So
Now, how much? I remember Kelly saying, because we were trying to get something together with Paul. I'm still trying to get something together with Paul. That's a long story, but with regards to an interview before the tour happened, and with him and Kelly, we were going to kind of like preview the tour before it happened, and he had mentioned, well, I'm going out to San Diego to do these rehearsals, and I'm assuming you guys were all involved in that, right? You were all there, right?
Oh yeah.
So how did that, like, how much rehearsal time did you guys have before this tour then?
We had a few months, I want to say. It was weird for me because
altogether, like only 2 meetups.
Yeah, I meant all together, only a couple days.
Yeah. So we only met up once in February for a couple days. Then we all went back home, and then we only had like 2 rehearsals, I think 2 or 3 rehearsals before the tour started.
Wow.
We left right from rehearsals to the first show. So we only played together. The first show was only our like 7th or 8th time ever playing together. So
that's insane.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How about Alex? What's give me your thoughts and impressions about how that all came together.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because of my other band, Arkaik, it's kind of the same situation where we all live in different states. So I could tell right away from meeting these guys, like, even those just on the internet at first, everyone was like equally stoked to be playing an Atheist. So, you know, everyone, like, as long as everyone does their homework, then when you get together, like, theoretically it should go okay. Atheist is a little different though, because it's not like played to a click or anything. So we had to really get to know each other, like, as players, and obviously take just a lot of notes from Kelly himself, because he would pick out little things that I would never notice as like, oh, that's off, you know, just feel based things.
Right.
So yeah, we didn't have a ton of time to like practice together, but we're all about it, and you know, yeah.
Nate asked the question.
Like unprepared.
Well, Nate asked the question, and maybe you can both speak to this. Did you learn these by ear, by tabs, by other videos, watching performances, or a amalgamation of all those things?
Mainly by ear, and then if things were like really hard to tell, I'd like look up live footage and try to look at their hands, and you know, I made tabs of all the stuff on Guitar Pro, like sent them to Jerry, and then Jerry would learn them and maybe have some feedback for me, like, oh, I think this is how this goes. And so we just kind of, did it by ear though.
Do you read music, Alex or Jerry? Do you read at all?
I can technically. I'm not good at it. But
I can read tablatures, but not actual sheet.
He's like, dude, I'm a fucking death metal guitarist. Come on, man.
Yeah, I just like never really had a reason
to, right?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, sight reading is way, way, way harder than most people know. Like, sight reading is for people that are really accomplished. Usually classical guitar players are those guys, you know what I mean?
I can make it through like jazz fake books, but like when it comes to classical guitar, no way. Like I have to sit there and study it for a while. Yeah.
Jerry, how about you? Like same concept. You were doing pretty much the video thing, or
so it's kind of weird with me. So I learned, like I said, most of those songs when I was like a kid, and I had done them by ear, and there was like no tabs for them at the time, and if there were, they were completely wrong. So I kind of learned them by ear, and then I've always played them the same way since I was, 13, 14, whatever. But then when Alex and I, knew that we were both the guitar players, we went through things together, and he did the wonderful task of tabbing all that stuff out to make sure that we were at least playing the same thing, or on the same page, and fixing little things and giving each other notes. But I also watched all those old school live videos of them. Like, I worshipped Atheists and had posters on my wall of them as a kid. So I, like down to me playing a flying V was because Rand Berkey played a flying V for Atheist, and all that. So it was really cool. And it also was challenging in a way too, because I had been playing these songs the same way for 10 years and then finding out these little details that you don't.
I was going to say, how far off were you?
Yeah.
How far off were you at some
Not that much. I think it was like, there's like little things that like, just little nuances that you can't necessarily pick apart on your, it's weird. You hear them a certain way, and then once you realize it's this way, it's like, whoa, I get it. How did I not hear that?
Yeah, how did I not figure that out?
There's so much going on that it was like, for me, it was like, I wasn't upset. It was like, oh my God, like there's more I can discover about this fucking amazing album. And it was really cool. And
well, okay, so I have a big question here, and it's one, believe it or not, in the dozens of conversations Kelly and I have had, I never asked. How much of the lead work was predominantly Rand versus Kelly? Was it all Rand, or was it? Because I never asked that.
No, Kelly actually solos a lot. I mean, he doesn't get enough credit as a guitar player in Atheist. That dude wrote a lot of those riffs and a lot of those ideas. Those are usually Kelly, and so he's a huge part of that writing process. But I mean, like Rand definitely does a lot of the kind of like, crazy fast solos, and Kelly does a lot of dive bomb, like really aggressive things. But I feel like, to me, Rand and Kelly are kind of like how you look at KK Downing and Glenn Tipton or Hank Sherman and Michael Denner, like they're a duo. And to me, that always appealed to me. So Alex and I like split them up evenly between each other. We chose.
I was going to ask that. So you guys, did you want certain solos when you were doing these guys, or did you say, dude, I want that one from Piece of Time, or I want the one from Mother? Okay, so you guys worked it out.
Alex is a saint because he kind of let me choose what I wanted, and it was very like it's like, hey, if you want this, then blah blah blah.
You straight up just knew the music better too. So if I was like, what solo do you want, Jerry? Because like I'll play whatever I need to play. Certain songs I was like, oh, that's a great solo. Like the song Fire, I was just like, ooh, I want that solo. But
on Fire, you did the one on Fire, right?
Yes, that was like the one.
The neoclassical one. That's the more neoclassical thing, right?
Super jazzy,
jazzy, yeah. That was killer. See, I was right in front of you the whole show, Alex. So I really didn't get to see Jerry much because he didn't wander too much over on the other side of the stage, unlike Yoav, who was everywhere.
Yoav's got that wireless.
He has no cable, so he's just
right. Exactly, but you were kind of stuck. You guys were kind of stuck where you were at, and but that was one that really stuck out. I was like, damn, man, that guy's fucking flying on that shit.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
but so I had a comment here. Oh, I just wanted to say one quick thing. Allie, this is always up. It's it's there forever. So once this ends, it'll go up on my my channel, and there's a shit ton of other killer interviews too with like Kelly and lots of other huge giant rock stars. The giant rock stars flock to me. They just love me. So anyway, but yeah, it'll always be up.
Allie's also really awesome. We met her at one of the shows, and she's been extremely supportive towards us. So
she mentioned she saw you at Seattle.
Yeah. So she's been awesome. It was great meeting you.
Shout out.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So Jerry, when you get that, well, see, for you, it's kind of anticlimactic because Kelly's asked you to join the band like a dozen times, and you said no. So finally, when you said yes, it was like, oh, now you say yes.
We joke around about that. No, honestly, I think it worked for the better because I got to learn more about touring on my own and doing, figuring out things on my own, and feeling like I could really step in now as, a more mature, responsible, hopefully individual, So,
right.
Yeah, man, it was, I mean, that excitement, is still there though. It's like, holy shit, I get to play for the legendary Atheist. Like my mom bought me t-shirts of theirs when I was 12 years old that I still have, So
I was just going to ask you, did your parents come out and see you play?
Oh yeah. My mom came out to 2 shows. My family actually was on a huge vacation in Salt Lake City, and I was supposed to go on the trip. We've been planning it for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And it was like my mom's whole side of the family. And then I obviously got the Atheist gig, and the tour kind of was the same dates. but we ended up being in Salt Lake City the same day. So my whole family came to that show. And then at home in Boston, my dad came and my mom came out too. And all my friends and family. So yeah, they were there and supportive for sure. They were
awesome. How about you, Alex?
I had my family come out in LA and sister came out in Arizona. But yeah, Jerry's support group is, you can't compare.
Yeah.
Dude, Boston was like one of the most fun shows, and he just had like
42 family members showed up for the Atheist show for Jerry.
Just so many homies and family. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That was like really fun getting to know all them. But yeah, my folks were stoked too. They came out and had some fun. Yeah.
So the big question now, which I've already posed to the boss, okay, and he talked about it somewhat, is when are we getting a new Atheist album? Now, I know I'm aware of the fact, and a lot of fans probably aren't, that there was some trickiness going on with the Polish label that kind of Kelly had signed with that was fucking some shit up pretty badly. I believe that's now going to be passed or is passed, and I think Nuclear Blast is going to be picking them up or has picked them up. Picked Atheist up, rather, I should say.
Yeah.
What's going on? Can you talk, or do you not want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Are you sworn to secrecy?
I mean, yeah, we, we're doing the Nuclear Blast thing now. And, they reissued all the records and whatnot. Right. Which has been awesome because they're an incredible label. But I mean, other than that, Kelly is obviously kind of deals with more of that stuff. Where, Alex and I and the other guys were all working on new material.
So you guys are demoing your own riffs, and then you'll just get together at some point and see what you got?
Yeah, I also do want to mention too that Kelly still writes a lot of the material. Like, he still plays guitar, and he doesn't play live, but he's always been, the riff genius with that band. And so it still has that Atheist energy and everything. And us as players, we just want to, add to that legacy. And also just as fans, what would we want to hear from Atheist? And but he kind of, he still writes the riffs too. So it's like we have 3 guitar players in the band technically, and it's awesome. So yeah, we're working on some new stuff, and hopefully that will be in the form of a new record or something.
Yeah, it's so early on, can't even really talk about it much yet, and Kelly and the guys are they've got their Till the Dirt stuff just coming out right now. So but I've been trying to mess with some ideas. I know Dylan, our drummer, has some ideas. Yoav does. Jerry, I'm sure you do too. And
but I guess
we'll get to work soon.
Yeah, I guess the cool part of it is that while Kelly still is the creative mind and it is his sort of thing, right, more or less, he's still very willing to share the credit with you guys. That was the big thing I noticed at the show. It was it could have been the Kelly Shaefer show. It could have been hey man, I'm the guy that's been here 35 years. These are just kids I brought along to play. But it wasn't that at all, man. He was so happy to be on stage with guys that could rip and bring that material to life. And I've developed a very good friendship with Kelly over the last 8 months. We talk outside of the metal thing. We text each other and talk about life, and because we're pretty much, he's a couple years younger than me, but not a lot. We're fathers. We're and the thing that's impressed me so much about him is that he's just a great fucking human being, which you can't say that about a lot of people. And he's not in any way, shape, or form. It's not the Kelly. It's not Atheist featuring Kelly Shaefer. It never became that. And that's pretty impressive to bring you young guys in. You are young guys. I don't mean it, denigratingly at all. I mean,
you're right.
You're young guys, and he's sharing that goodness with you. He's sharing his wisdom and his integrity, I think is a good word to say, is integrity, with the things that he's done with this band. And it's kind of weird because they really only have four out. They only have four albums, right? But they occupy such a unique and historic sort of position that it's got to be kind of mind-blowing when you guys got those calls. And again, Jerry, you got the call a couple times, but to get this kind of thing to say, look, man, I want you to be part of this, you had to be like going, what? Like what? Like how did that happen? But not only that, it's a testament to what great musicians you guys are, and just your enthusiasm for the project, right? And the band and the legacy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Kelly's so inspirational, whether it's music or as just an individual. He's always been just so giving, and we're extremely grateful for his friendship and everything. And he, it's like he's our mentor and our teacher, but he's also our friend, and he's never once made us feel less than just because we're a bunch of young kids. And
exactly,
we're in, and honestly, it's like I said, it's really inspirational for me personally. It's like, wow, like here's this guy that you've worshipped for fucking over a decade, and he's just your buddy. And he's full of love, and so eternally grateful for his friendship. And it's like, and the fact that he shares these songs with us and lets us also feel like they're ours too. It's really incredible. So I wish, I hope more people kind of, look after, the kind of person that he is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably don't know this, but I have a really bad health condition, like a very serious health condition, like real serious. And he checks in on me, man. Every couple weeks, he'll be like, "Hey, buddy, how you feeling? What's going on?"
Yes.
And I mean, like, he doesn't have to do that. He could, I'm just some fucking goober on the internet.
People,
He does, yeah. Yeah, he's a very people person.
We're buddies, and as he said, man, we're buddies till the dirt. So, which I didn't understand that. I thought it was like till the dirt, right? And then he said it during our interview last week. I'm like, oh, it means that till the. Oh, I get it now. So,
yeah.
Had a couple quick ones, and then we'll wrap up here. I totally lost my mark. I was like so on. I was right there, and I lost it.
You're good, man.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the tour. So you get out there on the road, and this is really, I'm guessing, for both of you, your first big like nationwide tour, right? Usually it was just like a regional type thing, or no? Am I wrong about that?
No, I've done a few just like this. Yeah.
Oh, you have? All right. Hang on one sec. Let me talk about that a little bit. Sorry.
Just with ever since 2018, I've been doing like U.S. tours. Haven't made it outside the country yet, but this was.
But you've been around the whole state's area, more or less.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and that was with Arkaik.
Arkaik, and then I did one with a band called Veil of Nath. Funny enough, right before the Atheist tour, I did an Arkaik tour, so it wasn't as long, but it's like I was like seeing some of the same venues I just saw. I was like, oh, this is funny.
Nice.
Starting to feel like home, different states.
Nice.
But yeah.
Do you have any favorites that you hit that you can point out?
On the Atheist tour specifically, I really loved LA, the Teragram, I think it was called. God, what else? It's such a blur, man, to be honest. There were so many sick shows, but I'd have to look at the tour dates and remember which ones specifically I loved. Yeah. Boston, I love. New York, I know me and Jerry had a lot of fun.
Always big ones.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Of course, the best one was Baltimore because I was there. But I'm just
Baltimore was sick. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, kind of the same thing.
So
was that your first major? Because you said you went down to Florida, but was that primarily just an East Coast tour?
Yeah, I've mostly done East Coast stuff. This was my first time actually going across the country in terms of playing music, and then going to Canada and playing 4 shows in Canada. That was a first for me. So it was a really surreal experience and something I'm still processing and kind of haven't fully processed yet. I've been itching to get back out on the road. But in terms of favorite shows, I mean, that Salt Lake City one for me, just because my family being there was cool. Boston was just fucking amazing. And I really enjoyed Quebec City. In
Quebec's
particular,
big time metal.
yeah, it was a lot
so
of fun.
fun.
And
Montreal.
also like, you know, all the shows were fun. Like there wasn't one show that I was like, eh. And but for me, a lot of it was getting to meet the people like afterwards. Like it was like, hey, here's these songs, but like just getting to see how many people were excited to see that music live and spending time with these guys and all the new connections I made. Like to me, those were the best parts of it. So every day had something good about it, you know. I really enjoyed all the
Well, Toronto, you got to hang out with your buddy Derek Vella from Tomb Mold.
Yeah, Tomb Mold Derek, yeah. I had played shows with him back when I was still a teenager, I think.
He's a sweetheart, man.
He's such a sweetheart.
I'm bugging him to come on and do a deep dive of Anathema with me. He's
oh man,
yeah.
I don't know whether I've got him or not. I seem to get him, and then he's like, I think he's afraid because when we did our interview, I think it was like 3.5 hours or something crazy like that. And we just kept doing the dude. Have you heard this? Have you heard that? Have you heard this? Do you know this? Do you know this guitar player? Do you know that guitar player? You know, but was there any other big time like people that you met after a show in any places that you're like, oh shit, I can't believe this? Now hang on one sec before you say anything. You guys also got to meet an OG of Atheist in Steve Flynn. So talk a little bit about that, but tell me about whether there was anybody that came to like an LA show or a New York show that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna name names, but it's really crazy to see how small the music world really is, and you know how many people kind of know each other. And for me, honestly, it was really cool just getting to meet people and them just approaching you as an individual rather than like a status of where they're at, you know. And I felt like you know, there was a lot of cool people that I was like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy's here. But everyone was so friendly. I will say we played a show in New York. When we played New York, Kevin from Goreguts opened the show.
Such an insane guitar player. Such a great guy.
It was really cool for me because like my old band got to open up for Goreguts back in the day when I was like 16 or 17. So that was like, you know, the first kind of like big show I had done. So it was really cool to, you know, see, you know, all these years go by, like almost 10 years or whatever. And he's just such an incredible musician and person. So that was really cool. I mean, we got to tour with Paul Masvidal, so that was for me. I was
pretty goddamn cool, right?
He's like one of my heroes, so that was really cool. But yeah, no, everyone was fucking awesome. But
not to do this too much, but Kevin Huffnagel really killed an interview on Gas Mask and Hand Grenades. Just saying. Nice. Also, there's this dude. He's in Goreguts. What's his name? Luke LeMay.
Oh.
4.5 hour interview on.
Of course.
4.5 hour interview on Gas Mask and Hand Grenades. That guy, yes, that guy's there too. So you guys are in pretty good company. Just saying, right?
Yeah, you know? Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Alex? Any?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oops, what happened there? There we go. Any big? If you don't want to name names, that's fine. But anybody stand out that you're like, whoa, I can't believe I'm like talking to this guy, or you know?
Definitely.
And again, just to make mention, Kevin, what an awesome human being. Just such a good dude.
Yeah. And huge, like, shout out to his solo stuff he was playing that night. I was like totally mesmerized watching that. I didn't know anything. I'm a fan of his work in Goreguts and some of the other stuff he does, but that was my first time hearing his like acoustic instrumental stuff. And it was, just beautiful.
Emotional.
And haunting. Yeah. I remember he opened the set saying like, this is like every interlude you've ever heard of like an 80s metal album, like, but only those parts. And I was like, okay. No, there's a lot of cool musicians who came out. Again, it was like the whole thing was like a blur, so it's hard for me to remember exactly who, but I remember like New York, the front man from Revocation, I think his name's Dave.
Dave.
He was there too. Didn't talk to him, but I was just like, oh shit, I've seen that band a bunch. So now he's at the show. Very cool. There's a lot of experiences like that. Yeah, LA had a lot of cool people there too. And like Jerry said, just seeing Paul every day was trippy because, been a huge Cynic fan since I was like 14. So yeah, like you said, just surrounded by a lot of good company pretty much every single night,
Yeah. And you got Max on the tour.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's kind of okay at the guitar a little bit, right?
All the Zenith. Sorry, I said Zenith Passage. I was going to say their bass player too plays in a band I love called the Zenith Passage.
Oh, you talking about from Exist?
The bassist of Cynic, Brandon.
Oh, the bassist of Cynic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, no, just like each member in Cynic has a really sick band. Like Matt Lynch, the drummer, I think he plays in Intronaut as well.
Oh God, man,
yeah, obviously,
so fucking good. Yeah,
Max
is okay.
Max is okay.
Exactly.
I hope he watches this.
The funny thing about that is, and Max, by the way, another guy that your boy here has interviewed for 2.5 hours. And I go back to seeing Exist open for Gorguts back in 16 on Pleiades Dust. So meeting Max, funny quick story there. So I meet Max. I'm talking to a buddy of mine who's in DC. I'm like, dude, I'm talking to him on the phone while Exist is playing. I'm like, have you ever heard of this band Exist? I'm like, fuck, man. They're insanely good. It's like, it's like fucking super prog death, like human era death, right?
Yeah.
Only super progged out, right? And he's like, no, well, now my buddy John is like the biggest Exist fan, and I love him too. But I'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
Or that night.
That happens sometimes, yeah.
That's when I opened up for Gorguts. Exist was actually on that show too. So that is the first time I met Max also.
Okay.
So it's like full circle.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's this one night, 10 years later, or almost 10 years later, all
that had to be cool, right?
Up, and that's pretty cool.
That had to be cool. Funny story about Gorguts though is that I go down and I'm wearing a Porcupine Tree Signify shirt. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that.
And I'm wearing it specifically because Luke is a big time Stephen Wilson Porcupine Tree fan around that time, right? Mm-hmm. And like I said, I always throw this out there, and I'm not doing it fucking clout chasing. I worked for the band from 99 till 2010.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you some cool stuff real quick in a minute here, some pictures. But so I decided to play a little trick on Luke. I walk up to the merch stand and I see that he's doing the merch, right? Like he always does, because he's such a wonderful, fan-friendly, just super. He's like a little kid, and he's like a kid in the candy shop. Like, oh, I get to sell this stuff and talk to all my fans, right? And I walk up and I've got the Porcupine Tree shirt on, and I don't let on that I know it's him. And he goes, "Oh man, love that band, Porcupine Tree. I love them." And I'm like, "Yeah, I wore this for Luke. Is he here?"
Nice.
And he looks at me like,
yeah.
He goes, "I am Luke. I'm Luke." And I'm like, no, Luke LeMay, the lead guy in Gorguts. And he looks at me and he goes, no, I am Luke. That is me. And I'm like, no, the Luke LeMay, the guy that's the singer and guitarist for.
Trolling.
And he looks at me like, "You're fucking nuts, dude. There's something wrong with you." And I'm like, "Luke, I know it's you. I'm just kidding."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh man, you had me going crazy."
Yeah, he's so sweet. Like when I played that show, this actually is like stuck with me since. But like you said, like he hangs out at the merch booth, and I went up to him and I was like, "Hey man, like I was like, I don't know if you were able to catch any of the set or anything, but like as someone who's been doing this for such a long time, do you have any constructive criticism that you can give me, like in terms of the band and like how." You've been touring for so long, like how do you, but it was also hard for me to communicate to him because it was just like, oh my God, that's Luke LeMay. And he was like so sweet. He was just like, he's like, dude, I'm just a person like anyone else. Like, he's like, we just, we create art. And it was like really cool that, you have these guys like Luke and Kelly and Paul who don't act better than other people, just because of how incredible their art is. Like you can really feel that in their music and them as individuals too. It's like, wow, it's really, really inspiring. But That's my little Luke
Yeah.
story.
Well, it's kind of like Kelly said in Till the Dirt interview that I did with him. He's like, when people say thank you to me, can I take a picture with you? Can I get your autograph? I'm like, and this is what I'm paraphrasing Kelly. He's like, no, can I get a picture with you?
Yeah.
Can I get your autograph? Because if you don't come out to see me, if you don't come out here and support us and buy merch and buy albums, I'm not going out on tour. I'm not writing new albums. So it's me that needs to thank you. That's how Kelly, that's how Luke is.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
how, and granted, look, let's be honest. You guys are aware of this. You know, as cynic or as atheist or as, you know, a lot of what you call the semi-underground of metal, of death metal, you're not going to be playing arenas. It's just not, that's not how what's going to happen. It's just not that kind of music. It doesn't, hell, Judas Priest doesn't even sell out arenas these days anymore. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, it's the connection to the fans. It's a connection that we all have as fans of this style of metal, this style of music that bonds us all. So why walk around like your shit doesn't stink and you're somebody above that? I mean, as an artist, if I was in Kelly's position or in anybody's position that was doing this, I'd be like, hey, man, yeah, I don't want some psycho fan approaching me and like literally freaking me out and scaring the shit out of me, but I want that interaction. I want that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I will say that when I met Steven Wilson, when I met those guys in Porcupine Tree, there was 100 people in the TLA in Philadelphia seeing Porcupine Tree just prior to In Absentia being released. Think about that.
Yeah, that's
100
crazy.
people. That was it.
Yeah.
So when we went out to dinner afterwards, because we were the fans that knew those guys, it was like, oh, cool. But I watched one night when some fucking dude somehow figured out where the green room was, and we're all hanging out backstage, and he blasts in, and right away goes at Steve, and like I saw a look of terror on Steve's face, like, oh my God, like this guy's gonna kill me, you know, because it happened, you know.
Yeah.
Dimebag, and you know, we've seen this shit, right?
No, yeah.
And unfortunately, because of one or two things like that happened, Steve became much more reclusive, and even those of us that had access suddenly didn't have quite the access we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sad. That's the downside of this thing, right? But when you're in a situation like right now where Kelly will talk to anybody and take pictures with anybody and hang out with anybody, and it's a cool thing, right? It's a cool thing
it's so sick.
I don't ever want to lose that as a fan, and I also want to be respectful and be like, don't fuck it. Another quick story, Dream Theater.
Mm-hmm.
I've met those guys a couple times, okay, through various machinations. And I remember being at the mall. They were doing the Prog Nation, I think it was called, with like Zappa plays Zappa and Queensryche and Big Elf and Scale the Summit. There was another band that I can't remember. But anyways, we happened to go. It was an outdoor show. Me and my buddy happened to go over to the mall. We walked into Panera to get something to eat, and there was Kevin and Jordan. Now, I've met Jordan. I've hung out with Jordan. I've met Kevin one time, but very briefly. And all of a sudden, man, all these people come in, and they're just hanging around them. And these guys are trying to have fucking lunch or dinner or whatever. It's like, come on, man. And I remember Kevin going, guys, I'll sign whatever you want, but can you let us have lunch?
Yeah.
It's gotta be
that's
tough,
the
man.
other side of this
really
thing.
tough.
Have some semblance of who's not to be a dick.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I totally agree. And there's something nice to be said for like the slightly more underground stuff, because the interaction between band and, you know, audience is a lot more human, you know.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level, it's like you're more of just like an idea rather than a person, and it's a weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's less of that fanboy thing. It's kind of like, hey, look, we're all in this together. We all love this music. It's important to us. The scene is important to us. Don't fuck it up by being a douchebag, man. It's really that simple. That's all, you know?
Totally.
Like when we came down to Baltimore, we came on the bus, we're hanging out, and Kelly's like, I gotta get cigarettes. He's like, but man, there's already like 10 people out here. He's like, I just got up like an hour ago. He's like, walk out with me. We're gonna walk around the front. We're gonna walk down to the thing, and I'm like, really, man? Like they're gonna be like that much douchebags to you? And he's like, no, but I just don't. I'm not in the headspace yet. I'll be there. I'll definitely be there. But you know, so it's totally cool.
Yeah.
Tell me real quick. We'll wrap up here in a few minutes. Was there any shows, Alex, that you felt like, man, we just absolutely crushed it? No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Detroit was definitely one of those nights. Montreal, or sorry, Quebec. Well, both French Canadian shows. Every show. No, yeah, those were some of the highlights. Trying to think what else.
Do you have any nerves? Did you have any nerves?
Well, my pre-show ritual helps me with my nerves a little bit.
Smoke 18 bong hits and 4 Jaeger bomb. No, I'm just kidding.
Steer clear of the weed, but yeah, I like to with some drinks before play. Try to do it responsibly. You know, sometimes I get a little too loosey goosey, but in general, I like to have like a couple drinks before I play, and not even so much nerves. It's like, I guess it is just general anxiety. Like if I get on stage, I can do it sober, right? It's like I can do that. It's just I'm in my head a lot more. If I have like a couple of drinks and I kind of get in the vibe of like where the audience is at in their headspace, it's like then we can party together. Then I can like really enjoy them. You know.
Now, when you say a couple drinks, are you talking 1 or 2, or are you talking like 4 or something?
I like 2.
Because I could never. I can't play. I have.
Depends on the show.
9.5. It's like basically 2 beers. I'm already shit-faced. I'm not shit-faced, but I could not play right now. Not at all.
Yeah, I can, you know, I could drink quite a bit and play, but I don't want to do that, obviously. It's never worth getting to the point where I'm feeling sloppy or it's not fun. I want to be fully with it. So yeah, just like two drinks, you know, maybe a stage beer if I'm feeling a little frisky. Yeah.
How about you, Jerry? Any shows that jumped out? You same ones or?
Definitely.
Boston. I know Boston. You're already going to say that. I know.
The Canada shows were really awesome. Like all 4 of them. Like Alex said, every show had its own vibe and atmosphere, and they were all incredible. Kansas was a lot of fun for me. We played a show with my good friends in Phobophilic, who are an incredible death metal band and are in Europe right now. Those shows were incredible. I mean, yeah, every one was awesome. Cleveland, Ohio, surprisingly, was really, really crazy. It was just like this gnarly venue and really hot, and just so much energy. Detroit was awesome. But yeah, the whole show, all the shows were incredible.
Yeah.
I think an interesting aspect too of this tour was that you kind of had a juxtaposition of vibes in a weird way, because you guys came out and you were fucking feral, man. You were just like, ugh, I'm going for the jugular. It was just high energy. It was up. It was just go, go, go. Not at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but at a high rate of speed, more or less. And it was weird because I kept thinking live, I'm like, man, Atheist sounds way thrashier live than I would have expected. But it is kind of, you know, that totally. Those songs become a little bit more energetic live. And so there was that. And then you've got the juxtaposition of kind of the more moodier roller coastery ride of Cynic, which is cosmic and ethereal and, you know, that kind of vibe. And the other thing too that kept striking me was you guys got all the backline and they had no backline. It was all Kempers, right?
They were going digital. Yeah.
Right.
Which was interesting. Yeah.
And I could kind of hear the difference, but I play. So that's But to the general public, I don't think they would have ever known any difference, right?
Yeah. I will say that Kelly kind of put it best when he says that basically this tour, I mean, it's like two bands that represent different sides of the same coin. You know,
Yes.
they're it shows you how progressive and technical and out of the box this style of music can be. But they're entirely different, you know. But it makes sense why they're put together. So it's like it's really cool, you know. The Atheists, you know, you get the really old school raw, and like you said, like, you know, and then the Cynics, the more like it's almost like a guided meditation in a way, you know.
Exactly. I mean, during the intermission after Focus, Paul came out and did the Sage thing, which, you know, some real hardcore death metal dudes might have been like, oh, that's fucking lame, man. Like, what's with the new age shit? But it was very cool because it was while they were showing the backdrops of the Shawns, you know, I mean, and the great losses we had with those two.
I mean, I will say, though, even through, like, kind of Cynic having that more dreamy, you know, atmosphere, they still fucking rock. Like, they especially, like, you know, Focus and all that, like, that's, like, one of the craziest, honestly heavy records, too, you know? Like, and it's so dynamic, so when those heavy parts hit, it's a lot more intense. But it's really cool because as a fan of both Cynic and Atheist, it's like so sick to, you know, get to, you know, hear both. You know, I almost wish I was a fan out in the crowd for both bands, you know. But getting to see them every night was like a dream come true. And same with Atheist, it was like, you know, being in the band, but it's like playing songs. It made me think of being 14 years old and playing in my bedroom to those songs and imagining if I had written those songs and playing them. And so it's like really cool to have that experience, you know? But yeah, man, it's cool. Like, I'm really, really grateful that out of any time I could have been asked to join the band, it was for this particular tour. It's like a dream come true, you know?
All right, two quick things. And the first one is we got to give some props. You saw a bunch of different opening bands because I only saw the one show. But the opening band in Baltimore was fucking insane, man.
Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's Alex
really
Weber from Exist and his other band, Talking Points. Man, it was like King Crimson mixed with Mahavishnu mixed with that guitar player was slamming, man. Holy shit.
They were
blew me away.
It was so much fun. Alex and I like had played New York the night before, and you know, we definitely had some fun that night. So it was weird, like going into the Baltimore show, it was the first day we were both like, wow, we're feeling it.
You were dragging a little bit.
When that band hit the stage, we were like, holy fuck. Like it amped both of us up. We were both like, oh my God, like we have to play after that.
Every one of those dudes were like fucking virtuosos, man.
Incredible.
That was the real deal.
Yeah. And Alex, the bass player, or who, you know, was playing the stand-up, like he is phenomenal. Like he is such a nasty player.
Sick.
Yeah.
Super sick. So I'm going to get him and Max on. We're going to talk about the upcoming Exist at some point soon. So that's not probably until later in the year, early next year, but definitely going to pull those guys in. But yeah, Talking Points. Guys, go check out Talking Points. I'm not sure where. I think you can get them on Insta or under Alex Weber, I believe is his name, Alex Weber, who plays with Max in Exist. And also We Are in Transit. Mind fucking blowing musicians, just mind blowing. Okay, last thing, dudes. I was threatening it. We got to do it. We got to talk gear, man. We got to talk some nerdery. We got to do it. So, all right, Jerry, show me your axe, whatever your main axe.
Show me your axe, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm gonna show
bring
you
it, man. Don't disappoint.
Pull my axe out. I just a standard Gibson Flying V. And like I said earlier in the interview,
What year?
this one's a 2010, so it's kind of the last year Gibson was good before.
I was gonna say, man, Gibson hasn't been good for a while, but
actually,
okay,
I don't
I'll
want
give
to
you
say anything because if they ever want to,
I know. Yeah, you don't want to. You want to get fucked for an endorsement, right? I get you.
But yeah, like I said earlier, for me, I'm a hardcore Atheist fanboy at heart. I've loved them since I was 11 or 12, and I love Rand Berkey's style of playing a lot, and of course Kelly too. But I really wanted to pay homage to the original Atheist lineup. And use a flying V because that's what Rand used, and to me that felt it comes from a place of total admiration and love for that band, the original Atheist band. So I made that decision to go totally old school, and how would I approach it, this music if I had been in the band back then, so
And I noticed no Floyd Rose, so it's a stock.
no, it's funny enough. I used like a Floyd and a Kaler in Ancient Death and other things, but I learned off a fixed bridge, and so like I was saying, like I play 7 strings in Ancient Death, but for me it was almost like rediscovering the 6-string guitar again, and it was like it made me feel like I was 13 years old in my bedroom, and just fixed bridge and just only playing, like not having anything else. Like I didn't even, when I first like started relearning all these songs again and really like fixing little things that I hadn't been playing right, I didn't use pedals or anything. It was just like, let me just focus on just playing the guitar. And yeah, it was awesome. It took a beating. I have the whole back of the guitar. I don't know if you can see it, but it
absolutely got the road rash, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to turn into James Hetfield's white flying V he used, where it's all shredded. But it
what were you using for backline? Were you taking your own amp and pedal board, or what were you using?
Yeah. Well, so we actually used all of Dylan's equipment, minus the pedal boards and guitars.
Yeah, he helped out big time.
Yeah, he lent me his amp head and his cab, which is the same one I use at home. So it was like the
Marshall?
same year.
Marshall?
Yeah, I used a PV 6505 head and
PV 6505. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
and then the Marshall 1960 cabs.
They were Marshall cabs, yeah.
Yeah, the Marshall cabs. And
I was gonna say Marshall
heads with different stock speakers, or is that stock speakers, or was it modded?
That's a question for Dylan, just because I don't know if he modified anything. I think it's just all standard stuff, and so to me that's just the most badass metal.
Probably
sound,
Celestian creambacks, I'm guessing. Probably.
Huh?
Probably Celestian creambacks. Probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Hey Marty, you got here late, man. We already talked about that a lot, about Kelly playing and writing. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't play live, but he still writes a lot of the riffs, and he's still a killer guitar player, which a lot of people don't really know or realize. Actually, I think. What about pedal board? Anything? You didn't have much. You had both. You guys went pretty lean.
Yeah, I mean, so this is actually cool because what Alex had mentioned earlier, like I feel like something that's been really unique and cool about our friendship and also being in a band together is we have different backgrounds in terms of playing, and so we've learned and taught each other a lot about what we each know. And so there's a lot of things I had no idea about that he had shown me or told me about and kind of guided me through, and vice versa. And so for me, it was like, I've always just used like heads and amps, like tube amps and all that. And my pedals, and, I have a kind of a bigger board for Ancient Death. We have a lot of different kind of textures, but for Atheist, I wanted to tone it down a little bit and do more of like, straight ahead stuff.
Straight ahead. What do I need?
A reverb and a delay, and they use like I think the rat pedal and all that. But so I kind of stripped it down only for mostly solos, or like if the intro to like Piece of Time, that very reverby thing that Ryan does. But yeah, just, I mean, the carbon
So
copy.
were you using like a boost pedal at all, or what?
Yeah, so this is the first time I actually used a boost pedal. I got it for this band and for the solos and everything, and it was awesome. It was really cool. I forget what it is. It's like the EP booster or something like that. I'm not too certain. I have to probably look at it again, but yeah,
you're definitely not a gear nerd. You're just kind of you're kind of like whatever works. Right?
I use like the same kind of there's like a couple pedals I use, and that's what I've always focused on. Like I don't use distortion pedals. I like the amp distortion usually. But I use like an MXR carbon copy for my delay, and to me that's like my favorite pedal. And yeah, I used a Hall of Fame reverb, and then I got one of those Decimate kind of noise gate pedals, which was cool because I had never used with Ancient Death. It's like doomier and kind of more open, so you can let the feedback ring a little more. Where Atheist, you have those stops, so it was like, even if I can do it, physically stop it, it's just making sure it's really, really dead stop in terms of live settings. So, but yeah, I didn't use much. It was I kind of let the playing do the talking.
Yeah, and it was great. It was seriously good.
Oh,
now I know, Alex, I got firsthand ear damage from Alex's boost pedal. So
adjustments were made after that show.
That night it was like right through my eardrums. I was like, "Fuck, man, sounds good, but I'm going to be deaf when I get out of here." What were you using specifically? And show me your. You got the Ormsby. You want to show that off a little bit?
Yeah. So I have a few.
Are you endorsed? Are you endorsed or no?
I am endorsed, yes. So
okay,
I've got a few Ormsbys, and this was the one I picked up right before the Atheist tour. It's a guy named Richie Allen. It's his signature guitar. So yeah, it's just a 6-string, and it's got like in-house Ormsby pickups, all that stuff. Floyd Rose, which was a big reason why I took a lot of Kelly solos. I think, is that why, Jerry? I think that was part of it. It's like I had a whammy.
No, yeah, I mean, partially, yeah, just because I don't have the Floyd. And
now you want to play the V,
yeah. And as much as I love Kelly solos too, like I love the Rand Berkey stuff a lot. That's just like naturally how I feel like I play that.
I have one thing to interject there, though, Jerry. You're kind of half-assing it because you're not playing it upside down and left-handed. I'm just saying.
I actually joked around about that to Kelly, and I was like, "Hey, what if I like turned it upside down, or like restrung it upside down or whatever, and just like played it that way and kind of was a douchebag." but no, I kind of wanted to also like not just feel like a cover band. Like I want to make also like my mark in the Atheist name, and that's really important for me. So I also do want to like kind of have my own thing. But actually what's really cool is we didn't plan
I'll come back to you, Alex. Hold on.
We didn't plan this, but Alex and I's guitars are kind of opposite colors. Like I have the red with the white. He has the white with the red.
Yeah.
So it was totally unplanned, but it kind of visually is striking because it's like, whoa, like I see these kind of colors, It's something as a nerd of art and stuff. I was like, oh, that looks so cool.
Here's the deal, though. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this. I'm sure you have. Have you ever tried to literally sit back and play left-handed if you're right-handed? It's fucking impossible.
No, I've never tried that.
It's impossible.
To play left-handed. But that's just because I'm ambidextrous. But
you are? Okay, well then you have that unique.
I'm like not that great at it, but I could do chords and hold out chords and strum.
Okay, yeah.
Solo or anything. But.
I mean, I look at guys like Rand. Another big one is Eric Gales. I don't know if you know the blues player Eric Gales. He plays it upside down, like Hendrix style. He plays a Strat upside down, although it's not a Strat; it's a custom made. And he plays it strung top to bottom. So his high E's up on the top and his lowies on the bottom. I'm like, how the fuck does anybody do that? But he learned it that way, so that's what his brain knows, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's so cool about Atheist too, like, because I mean they're already so out of the box in terms of their music and just like at that time era, and they're one of the first bands to do it. Like, you know, a lot of people fail to realize that, like, you know, Piece of Time was already recorded in '88. Like it was like it was like ready to go. That's like super fucking early. If you think of what was coming out at the time, like Death's Leprosy and all that stuff, like think of how, you know, and I love Leprosy, but think of how crazy technical Piece of Time is at that time era. But also so aside from the musical standpoint of it, you also have two left-handed guitar players.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and it's like one's playing upside down, you know, and then the other's playing regular lefty, but singing and doing those riffs. And you just have the gnarliest bass player in the world. Like
I was just gonna say, you got this guy named Roger Patterson.
Like Tony Cho did an incredible job too, but like Roger Patterson, and then Steve Flynn, who's just what the fuck, incredible. And it's so like as a kid, I like remember, like I said, I had posters on my wall, just seeing Kelly with the yellow Washburn guitar he had, and Rand with the black flying V, and it was just like the BC Rich Warlock, and it was like, holy fuck, like this band is just a bunch of weirdos. And it honestly, for a lot of kids who feel really lost or whatnot, like I know I struggled when I was a kid and stuff, and I got lost in that stuff, you know, stuff that was just they made their own mark, and Cynic's the same way, you know, the two headless guitars, and just how it's really incredible stuff, and it really at the time,
especially given if you listen to the Cynic demos and then you listen to Focus, it's like this whole other world happened, you know. I mean, you're just like, what? So Nate says, I think Jerry nailing the bends and vibrato is actually more impressive without the guitar being upside down. Yeah, man, for sure.
Thank you.
Alex, sorry, we interrupted you because we're not nerdy. So real quick, we'll wrap up with you here shortly. Pull up the Ormsby again. Excuse me, I'm sorry. What were you using then live specifically?
So because Dylan kind of provided the setup, I used I think the same setup as you, Jerry, just a different cab. It was my own cab, another Marshall one. Same exact head though. So what is that? A PV 650?
6505.
Yes,
those are beasts.
6505.
Are they 120 watts, or am I just dreaming that?
Yeah, they're 120.
Yeah, they're fucking ferocious, man. They'll eat you alive. Oh my god,
that was awesome. I got to play like a sick, like it was Dylan's friend's head, and it was like a custom pink one, which I was so stoked about. Yeah, so that, and then pretty much like you know, because I've always gone digital, I had to buy a bunch of new pedals. So I couldn't even tell you the name of them. Yeah, I just went on Amazon.
You didn't want to sneak the Axe effects out and try to program it to do what you wanted it to do?
I definitely didn't want to use the Axe effects as a head, because I do that for Arkaik, and it has a very different sound. It has like a pre-mixed kind of studio sound. I wanted
you mean when you're going through an amp, in other words, when you go through a preamp before you...
Yeah. So if I use the Axe effects as a head, then I just use a power amp to power it and then plug it into a cab. And it's cool, but it doesn't seem like kind of take up the same physical space that like a real head does.
Yeah.
And Atheist is, you know, a ballsy band. So I wanted like the real thing. But yeah, I bought like, you know, delay pedal, reverb pedal, distortion pedal, all this different stuff.
What was your boost, man? I think I asked you, what was that?
I don't even know. I picked up a boost pedal like the day before tour because everyone was telling me my solos are too quiet. So I just picked up whatever they had.
So not nerdy gear nerds. Holy shit. Like, come on.
I'm really not. I get really nerdy about playing and writing, but when it comes to gear, I'm just like, you know, like you were saying, I'm like I must be a smart dude to do the digital stuff. It's the opposite. Right. Like I like digital stuff because there's presets, and I just find a preset and I just stick with that. So yeah, I had to get a little more nerdy for this tour, and luckily Jerry knew a lot more about pedals than me. So we had a few phone calls and how to set it all up, and it's still a learning process. I learned a lot on the tour, so I think for the next one, like I'll have a, you know, when I kick on the overdrive, it's going to be It's just gonna sound better. I'm not gonna deafen anyone or
And it sounds like
have anything ridiculous sounding.
It sounds like out on the road too. I mean, you guys were together for what? Almost 6 weeks, right? About 5.5 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
And you did how many dates was it? Like 31 or 30?
Yeah, we did 31 shows in 33 days, but we had also spent time together before the tour, rehearsing and stuff. So we spent probably closer to almost 40 days together.
Yeah, with rehearsals. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and
for sure.
Yeah. Was there? Be honest. Was there any points during the tour you're like, oh man, I can't fucking stand these people? Or
no,
I know you're not going to say it directly, but was there any point in time where you're like, man, I just can't wait to get the hell home?
Yeah, I think it's really special. What made this tour special was there was like no bullshit that happened. It was like just a bunch of friends and people that like really, love playing music and love being on the road and enjoy others' companies and it was a great time. I mean, there's not like one day that I like can even think of that where I was like, what the fuck? Like it was like, holy shit, every single day I get to do this again. Like Alex and I spent a lot of time together. I mean, all of us in Atheist really spent a lot of time together. There's days Kelly and I went off and did stuff and same with Alex and I and Dylan and Yoav and even the Cynic guys. But I felt like this tour was us getting to really know each other on an even deeper and level, musically and personally. And I mean, Alex is like, I met Alex because of this band and we're now like best friends and he's like literally my brother. And it's really incredible how music that was created before we were even born can, how people become friends and bond, it's really so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I say this, and then Alex is probably like, "Man, this fucking kid was."
Man, I can't wait to get rid of this kid. He's bugging the shit out of me.
No. Honestly, all I'm thinking is like, because that was the first time I've ever done like 2 back-to-back month-long tours. So, I was just out with Arkaik, and then had like 2 or 3 days off, and then met up with Atheist, and so I was expecting to feel like no matter how cool anyone is, like I would get a little cranky and like
a little edgy, right?
Yeah, and I'm already like extremely like introverted, so I do like a lot of alone time.
Right.
But the guys were just such homies, and like we just had so much fun every day. And
Alex,
no one was like,
you have a long-standing girlfriend. What about you, Jerry?
I do not.
Okay, so it's probably was a little easier for you to be out than him, or whatever that way. But I mean, even then, it probably was kind of cool to get a little space and kind of do your thing and be the rock guy and. Because again, it's not like. Well, actually, I'm going to ask this question. This is going to be a tricky one, guys. Get ready. Jerry is going to be like, "Yeah, I'm all about this." But were there any girls that were kind of like pushing that envelope a little bit, like, "Hey, did you have any of that?" Or is that doesn't happen in death metal, right? Because let's be honest, most girls that show up at death metal shows, they're with their dude 99% of the time, right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, my beautiful girlfriend is listening.
I know. She's right there. I get it.
But in all seriousness, no, just having like a good partner makes being away a little bit easier because there's always that security. Like if I'm having a tough day or feeling really lonely, there's
a call.
Day one day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, it's like it's a nice comfort to have that, and not just saying this, but no, I don't have any temptations on the road.
Jay was out there just sowing wild oats. Nah, you weren't. Let's be honest. There was 11 people on that fucking bus. There was no way that was going on.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know. For me, like I'm sort of an introvert a little bit, but I'm very social. I mean, I guess I'm an extrovert too, but
you are. You definitely are. Yeah.
Like I wasn't really looking for anything. For me, it was like, I enjoy meeting people and I don't know. So, I mean, maybe there was, but I don't know. For me, it was like, hey, like, cool. I made a new friend and like I was focused on like making new friendships and focusing on the music. So yeah. No.
not happening. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a quick picture or two here. Let me do something real quick. Just bear with me 1 sec. Now I'll get you out of here. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
Oh.
I gotta watch because I got a lot of political shit on my personal Instagram page, and everybody knows me, knows I'm a Trump hater, so you don't have to say anything. That's just my thing. But I don't want to upset anyone too much.
I'm logging
So,
off. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, we don't talk. Actually, that is one thing on the tour. We don't talk politics.
Well, politics and religion, right?
Although Kelly is very outspoken about his beliefs, and and we all totally support him.
And that's why Kelly and I get along very well.
Yeah.
Just bear with me 1 sec, guys, while I find the picture. I didn't have this pre-planned, but I want you guys to see this picture in a minute here. Come on, Jeff. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Bear with me.
Someone asked if Kelly is the biggest weed smoker.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Why don't you guys answer that?
Absolutely.
Fucking Dylan, a drummer. Is
Dylan too. I mean, we all kind of are, except Yoav. But yeah, we smoked a lot of weed.
I actually smoked with Kelly at the end of that show that night, and I'm not like a big weed guy, but I was in a fair amount of pain by the end of that night, and he's like, dude, just have a hit of this, and it helped me kind of get through the night.
Oh yeah, man. I gotta say that was awesome getting to hang out with you that Baltimore show. You and Lauren, whatever. That was really incredible.
Dude, you know the coolest thing? I swear to God, the coolest thing that happened that night, other than meeting you guys were such wonderful human beings, such good guys to hang out with. But when we were standing there towards the end of the night, before we kind of went on and hung the last part of the night, you looked over me and you're like, is your daughter, does she need a drink? Your daughter's name's Lauren, right? You said that to me, and I'm like, yeah. And you're like, does she want to drink? You're like, Lauren, do you want to drink? Because she was like struggling with a little bit of stuff, right? And it was like the fact that you reached out and did that, it was like you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to go. Yeah. And then we went searching for a bottle of water, and then we went into we went back and hung out with Paul and the guys. It was just like I can't say enough good things. And I told Kelly this. I'm like, man, you got some wonderful, wonderful young guys in that band, man. Don't fuck that up.
Thanks, man.
Take care of those guys. Treat them right, because they're going to treat you right, because they really have a ton of respect for you. But again, it's Kelly, so I don't have to say that to Kelly. He knows.
Yeah.
He's that kind of good guy. But all right, I'm going to show you guys something real quick here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going to get you out of here, because I've kept you here all night. All right. Can you see that? Kind of small. Sorry. I don't know why it's so small.
I saw Steven Wilson
pictures.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to find it. There's me and Steve.
Yeah, badass, dude.
I got much less hair. I'm much younger.
Yeah.
This is at the Radio City Music Hall show they did, which was the last show they played in the United States in 2012 until they reformed and did this last album and went on tour and came over here.
Wow.
And then I'm sorry, hold on. Can you see that guy still?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's Anders from Catatonia.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
There's the Fates Warning dudes. All the Fates Warning guys. By the way, you guys don't know this guy, Mike Abdow?
No.
You know him? Oh,
no.
my God. Amazing guitar player.
Not familiar.
Check him out on Instagram. There's me and Mike Portnoy.
Oh shit, in the middle. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then there's this guy photobombing us. What the fuck, man? Creepy. All right, there's me and Jim.
Thought that was Marty Friedman.
That's you know that guy?
No.
You know Filter? Hey man, nice shot.
Maybe,
no.
Maybe if I heard it.
That's Richard Patrick. You know that guy?
No.
Doug Pinnick from King's fucking X.
King's X. Yeah, I never listened to that band. Yeah.
Oh, you got to get in. Hey, who those
yes. Guy? All right. There's
one
of my gods.
So those are the guys a part of that band that you totally don't love, right?
I don't really know that band at
Or
all.
no.
I've never heard of them. Weird thing. I just woke up one day and I'm like, oh, who are these guys? I was walking between them. Really strange. And I will tell you right now.
They did that song
Before-
AAB.
What's that?
They did the song AAB.
Yeah, AAB. That's the guy, right? Yeah. And actually, the funny part of that story is that. Hang on, let me see
Be
if
right
I can.
back.
Let me do this quick. Oh, I had you on solo. Sorry about that. And I ended up. Fuck, I can't get myself up there. Where'd I go? I disappeared. I put you on solo, but I don't know why. Okay, anyways, I was standing there. It's a long story about how that happened. I knew Neil Peart's personal bodyguard, so he got me backstage to meet these guys.
Sick, man.
And I'm standing there and I'm talking to my buddy in line. This is flip phone territory years, right? This is 07. I'm talking to my friend John. I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to shit myself. I cannot go up and meet these guys. It's scaring the hell out of me. But as soon as I get up to Alex, I'm like, I'm not worthy. I do the Wayne's World swing thing.
Yeah.
And Alex just cracks up, man. He's so fucking cool.
Oh yeah, I've seen like interviews and videos of him, and he just seems like a giant goofball. And like his playing really shows like how much of a cool guy he is. Like I think you can tell a lot about a person in the way they play.
Yeah,
honestly,
super killer dude, and the most amazing band of all time. I love Kelly and I love Atheist, but Rush is my jam. One last thing, quick here. Let's see if I can.
Atheist is just the metal Rush.
They are.
Honestly, yeah.
Very much
That's
so,
way to put
no
it.
doubt. Hang on. Let's see if I can find real quick.
It's quite the collection you got there.
There it is. There's another one. Do you know this guy?
No. Sorry.
Did you ever hear that song? Here in my car.
Yeah.
That's
Classic.
Gary Newman, man.
Oh,
Super.
dude.
Oh,
Okay.
that's Gary Newman.
My girlfriend loves
Oh
him.
my god,
She's got me into some of his
like
stuff.
I just in my mind, I just have him like the Two-Way Army, like early stuff, like replicas. That's what I think of what Gary Newman looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you know those guys? That guy right there, Mr. One Riff Lord, Jerry Cantrell.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah,
Mike Inez right there,
it's
and
small. It's hard to see. But
yeah, I know. I don't know why it's so small. I'm not sure why. Couple more quick ones. There's Steve. Oh, I already did these. Hang on. What happened to the other? Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Because I do want to get you guys out of here. You're probably like, I'm starving, or I got to take a piss or something. But
no, man. Honestly, thanks for having us on this. This has been a lot of fun, and it's like really cool because I haven't, seen Alex's face.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
So
I wanted.
Cool. This is our first time getting to talk since
hanging out.
then.
Yeah.
At least
I kind of wanted Kelly to join us, mainly because I wanted to wish him congratulations and happy anniversary. Because what is today, Jerry? You clued me in.
Yeah, so today actually is coincidentally the anniversary dates for all the first 3 Atheist records. So Piece of Time, Unquestionable Presence, and Elements all came out on August 30th. And
wait a minute, they all came out on the same day?
All on the same day.
I don't know that.
Yeah, so they all came out August 30th.
Wow, I did not realize that. That is such a trip. Holy fuck.
Yoav made a joke earlier about it, and I'm going to hold it true. But the next, hopefully, if there's going to be another Atheist record, it will be released
next August, right? Yeah, next August. Well, listen, let's wish the 2 remaining guys. I know Steve's not in the band, but he's still tied to the band. Oh, I forgot to ask you guys about that. What was it like meeting Steve, and what did he have to say to you?
Dude, yeah, I mean, so you have to like understand in a way, like for us, it's like, we're playing in a band with Kelly Shaefer, like that guy's a legend. I mean, he's an idol of ours. And he's definitely an idol of mine. But same with Steve. I mean, Steve was part of that original band, and he's kind of like what brought energy and spark to their sound, and he is so nice and so funny. And he like there was actually one point during the show he came out to Atlanta, and he was like watching Dylan and how Dylan's playing the drum parts, but then he'd like during solos he'd come out to the front and watch us. And for me, like my favorite song out of the whole Atheist set list to play is Unquestionable Presence, and particularly that Rand solo. And so like I remember him watching Dylan playing, and I'm at the corner and I'm start ripping the solo, and he just comes around during Unquestionable Presence, and he just he's just watching me play the solo, and as soon as I finished, he just started tapping on my leg like he was proud. And it was just like, for me, that was like one of the greatest moments I've ever had in my entire life. Is like I'm playing on stage with the guy who wrote this fucking song, while another guy who wrote the song is there giving me his approval. And it was really fucking awesome.
Awesome.
It's like I said earlier, it's a dream come true, like an incarnation's dream come true. It's fucking
How
incredible.
about you, Alex? You met Steve, I imagine, right?
Yeah, he hung out the whole Atlanta show that whole day. He was in the green room, and yeah, super down to earth, funny guy, a lot of personality. So it was fun hanging out with him.
A lot less hair.
yeah, nice smooth head, But yeah, no, it was really cool, and it was really cool seeing how touched he was, like seeing that the band's still going, and some of the guys saw him. He was definitely getting in his feels when we started, and that was really special to see, because it's they go back so far, so I'm sure it's kind of trippy for him to see the band still going, and whole new lineup, just keeping the legacy alive. But yeah, very cool guy. It was a fun day.
It was cool to see Kelly and Steve actually interact too, because it's like,
yeah, that was fun to watch.
Friends and in a band together for so long, and or like through multiple years, and so it was like really cool to see their interactions, and you can feel the love that they have for each other. It's like, it's definitely there. It was really cool to see.
They've had some ups and downs, I'm aware of, but I mean, I think that they're in a good place right now. They're in a good place.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
it's a shame that, and I'm going to speak from a slight point of ignorance here, but I kind of know some stuff. Let's just put it that way. But it's a shame that Rand is not in a good place, I guess, and that he can't be part of what's going on too. But it is what it is, sadly, So
yeah, actually, Steve said something to me that is, kind of had like a profound effect on me. But he was like, and Kelly also kind of said it. It's like sometimes, you can always appreciate someone's musical legacy and like, or whatnot, and that doesn't have like how someone is individually doesn't have to reflect your opinion on their music. I don't know Rand, so I can't speak on that. But
he's a monster. He was a monster player.
Yeah, he's one of my heroes, and so it's like, I don't know. So it's like, for me, it's like I have nothing but total love and appreciation for his work with Atheist and
respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah. And I mean, I was friends with him on Facebook back in the day, and he used to see me covering those videos and would always give me positive,
that's awesome.
Feedback. So it's like really cool. That was really cool for me back then. And so, yeah, man, I mean, that original band is so fucking sick. And then, of course, like Roger, is like, it's, for me, it's like weird. Like he passed away before we were even born, so it's like, I wish I could have got to experience meeting someone or seeing the work that he could have done. But I think
everybody talks about Cliff for obvious good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, and I got to see Cliff. That shows you how fucking old I am. But
that's killer, man.
Not to see him on the Master of Puppets tour opening for Ozzy of all things on Ultimate Sin.
Awesome.
But Roger is one of those guys that, in my opinion, along with Tony Choi, another amazing fucking player, right? And Sean Malone,
And yeah, Steve
you know,
Giorgio, like all
Giorgio.
those fucking guys, man.
It's sick how many fucking disgustingly good bass players came out of the Florida death metal scene and the thrash metal scene, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
just legends, true
killing
legends.
it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you earlier tonight, like you were talking to Alex, about when he had started learning bass and everything, and it's like so many people don't understand how important the bass is, or each
especially in
individual
atheists.
instrument.
Especially in atheists.
Yeah, it's like all the instruments are important. Whether someone's doing something simple or the most technical, as long as it complements the music in the way it's meant to be, like that, it's like they're all incredible. It's like imagine picking out one of those instruments out of Atheist's material. The whole thing would change. The same with all those other bands, like Death and Cynic, or any band. You could take like a popular thing, like I love a lot of Madonna and all that stuff. Imagine if like one thing changed out of it, it would change the whole experience. So those guys are so important, and especially Roger, like that. The guy's a huge influence.
What a monstrous genius player. Last question. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
It's not going to be an easy one. I want you to think about it. I want you to just blurt the first thing that comes out to your mind about, the first thing. Because you brought up Roger. And I think it's very important to note that Yoav is man, he's a good player. He is just so full of energy. He plays those bass lines, which are not simple to play at all.
Mm-hmm.
He's fiery. He's like into it. Like he's just bringing it every night, right? Kind of like the whirling dervish of Atheist, kind of, All right, so here's my question to you guys. I want one word for you to describe all of your Atheist band members. And it can't be killer, awesome. It's got to be, think about it a minute, okay? Think about what you would say about that one word.
One word.
All right. I'm going to go to you first, Jerry.
Oh, man.
I want you to give me one word on Dylan.
Shit. Can I give you two?
All right, two words.
I'll give you 2 words. One is inspirational. That's definitely one. And the other one is love.
All right. How about you, Alex, on Dylan? You can't use the same words, though.
No, I got you.
Yeah, I just took them all, man.
I got the word, and I'm gonna have to explain it. But I would say massive, and I mean that in like all regards. His personality, his playing,
great personality, wonderful personality.
Yeah, huge personality, huge player. He just does everything up big. Lives big, lives large. Yeah, he's a very, very fun person to be around. Yeah.
Alex.
Awkward.
Alex is my blonde twin from hell.
Yeah, you kept saying that, but he's not really blonde, is he?
Oh God, it's gonna open that debate again.
Yeah, it was a huge debate on the tour.
Dirty blonde.
Yeah,
or brown haired.
Yeah, we're like he has either the brown or the blonde hair, and I have either the blonde or the red hair.
You're the blondish red. You're the strawberry blonde kind of. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely brothers and twins.
All right, brothers. That's a good one. All right, Alex. How about Jerry? And you can't use brothers. You can't say twin.
I would say Jerry is infectious. So whatever thing Jerry keeps saying, any catchphrase or personality, whatever, it just rubs off on you. It's like if Jerry's around, everyone's like laughing, having fun,
I don't know Jerry, but the word that comes to mind for me would be sweetheart.
That's just as fitting. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's wholesome hours now.
Jerry, I want to hear a word or two about Yoav.
Man, incredible and determined. I feel like it's so hard to just think of just one words, like
I got you.
all these players are just such incredible people and musicians, and it just there's like I said earlier, like I've been trying to process that whole experience, and I'm still working through that, and I'm just really happy that I got to spend that amount of time with such incredible people, And
Am I wrong about Yoav? He does not party, right?
No, yeah, no, I mean, he still hangs out. We still have
But he
fun.
doesn't smoke,
He
right?
doesn't,
He
yeah, he
doesn't smoke.
doesn't partake in drinking or
He doesn't even
smoking.
drink either, right?
No, and
I'll tell you, you can tell because that motherfucker. I don't know how old he is, like close to 30, right?
no, I think he's 27. I think, yeah,
that
I think
dude is as lean as it gets. He is ripped like a beast.
Oh, he's so.
And when I saw, no offense to you guys, but man, that night when you guys were loading out, he was like a fucking fiend. He was like ripping and tearing, just loading that trailer like a maniac.
Yeah. I mean, we got to give a huge shout out to him too, because he really kind of like got everything set for us. Like anytime we hit the stage, there was always waters and a set list, and he made sure we were on time. And he's just, we learned a lot from him. And it's awesome to be in a band with him and Dylan and Kelly.
My word for Yoav would be like discipline. He's just like disciplined in all areas of life, and he's like the one dude, like every time we get to a town, he's like up and just finding like a rock climbing gym or like going walking like an hour to go get ice cream.
He's pretty athletic, right? Does he a runner or something like that, or is he kind of like pretty athletic, right?
Rock climbing,
really rock climbing.
He actually went rock climbing a bunch on the tour. Anytime he could stop and go out and do that. So he actually got like a gnarly ass blister on his finger, and I was like looking at it, we're all like, oh my god, that thing's so crazy, and this dude still powered
through it
the way he does, and I was like, oh my god, I'd be like crying. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I want to get him and Dylan on, so you guys reach out to him and let those guys know if they want to come on. They got a spot here.
They'd be stoked for it.
All right, now here comes the tough one, the biggie.
I think I know.
Ready? All right, I'm going to go to Alex first on this. 1 or 2 words about Kelly. Alex is going, okay, my future paycheck.
There's a lot of there's a lot of words.
Well, give me a couple.
I would say timeless, because we came into the band and he still is extremely like young and full of life kind of spirit towards music, towards everything. And he's playing this music that he wrote when he was like younger than us, and he's still putting in the same energy to it and everything. And not only that, but he still has so many plans moving forward. He has a new project he just put out a new record with, and still has all these dreams of places to go with music and with Atheist. So yeah, I think just like he's a timeless entity, man.
Nope. Did we lose you, Alex?
Am I still? Can you hear me?
No, you got a little blippy at the end. What'd you say the last thing?
Oh, I think Kelly's like a timeless entity, really. He's got such a rich history, and he's still pushing forward, and just has so many landmarks he's trying to achieve with music. And yeah,
he's like Cthulhu. He's an ancient one.
Yeah, I think so.
Full of wisdom and hope, and all
that absolutely.
So, all right, Jerry, how about it?
Oh man, I'm kind of in the same boat as Alex. Like, there's so many, thoughts I have on him as a person and a friend, and like, I think the biggest one is he's just so selfless. He like really cares about people, and for a little kid who is a little 11-year-old kid who fell in love with the band and struck a friendship with him when I was a young 14-year-old. I'm just so grateful and honored that he gave someone who appreciates his work a chance, and that he doesn't care about your status or who you are. It's about like the type of person you are, and just always giving. So I have nothing but total love and respect for him, and he is a legend. And again, it's ironic, but he is a living god. Like that man is the best. So cheers to
Was
him.
he at all fatherly on the road with you guys? Like, did he ever dip into dad mode at all?
I'd say he was more of a brother, like
Yeah.
more of a
Yeah.
teacher and a brother. He's so young at heart, and he's not, he's very passionate about what he believes, and it's not in a way that is demeaning or belittling to others. It's just he feels so passionately about the way he thinks, but he's always so willing to learn, to grow, and have new ideas and things influence him. And there's been times where it feels like he's come to us for things, and vice versa. It's like a real friendship. So but no, he was a lot of fun. Like I said earlier, we spent a lot of time together. We, in New Mexico, we went out and did some stuff. We got some food together, and we saw the Breaking Bad motel and saw Roadrunners and all sorts of shit. And in New York, we went out to eat together, and we had a lot of talks about the history of Atheist, and and I don't know, he really taught us a lot. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds for us, with both and Till the Dirt.
So mentor and friend are really good words.
Yeah, those.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's definitely a teacher and he's family. He means the world to us.
All right, well, listen, I've kept you guys for literally 3 hours, almost on the nut here. So we're gonna end this thing, but before we do, you guys each I'm gonna blow you up and tell everybody where they can find you and what you'd like them to know about you real quick. That we didn't cover in this 3 hours.
Yeah. I play in a band called Ancient Death, Till the Dirt, and Atheist. And if you want to find any of that stuff, I'm gonna sound like Paul Masvidal for a second, but look within and you'll find it.
Well, actually, you can just look in the description because I'll have all the links there for you.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I will. I'll do that. Alex, how about you, man? Oh, by the way, you said Ancient Death, but Alex, you mentioned your stuff too. One more time.
Yeah, solo project is Dessiderium, Dessiderium. You can find it on Spotify, Bandcamp, all that stuff. And then Arkaik, Arkaik. You can find it on Spotify and Bandcamp as well. So yeah, those are the two main things.
And again, Alex's and Jerry's links will be in the down below. Thanks to everybody that was here. We had, I don't know, about 15 people watching tonight, which is pretty cool. And we thank all of you guys that had personal anecdotes about meeting these fine young men. And guys, I want you to hold on a sec when I sign off here. I want to just bear with me for 1 minute. But I want to thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us,
that was
man.
A blast, man.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. And look for these guys soon, we hope, back out on the road. I know Kelly alluded to maybe some late end of the year type things, possibly with Atheist. Working on it. We'll see what happens. Maybe Till the Dirt with Jerry will be out at some point in time. Alex, you have anything coming up as far as touring wise with any of the other projects or no?
I don't think for this year, but 2024 will be busy for sure.
How about recording wise? Are you doing anything?
Yeah, new Dessiderium album is like halfway done recording.
Cool.
So.
And for those that got here late, we played some Dessiderium earlier. So go check that out. Go to Bandcamp. I'll have the links up. Jerry, what about you?
Yeah, we have a split that's coming out on Necroharmonic and Router Records with this band from Germany called Putridarium. That should be coming out hopefully really soon. And we're also going to be recording a 3-song promo tape, lead to kind of give the people a taste of what's coming for the album that we're going to start recording in 2 weeks. Thank you guys all for your support and everything.
Cool. All right. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for this. Tomorrow night, real fast, I have Greg May of OGLA power traditional kind of quasi-Christian metal band. Kind of goes against the atheist thing, but they weren't real Christian. They weren't striper Christian. They weren't talking about God in every lyric. Tyrant. So we're going to have Greg on 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Sunday night, myself and Brian Arkham are going to be doing the very first of the definitive albums deconstructed series. We're doing Dokken. You guys know that band Dokken, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
George fucking Lynch, man. George Lynch, my dude. We're doing we pit 2 albums in their catalog against each other. I've chosen Back for the Attack. Brian has chosen Under Lock and Key. So we're doing that at 10 o'clock on Sunday night. Those are the quick hits on things that are coming up in the next few days. And join me for those things. And thank you, everybody that was here on behalf of Jerry and Alex. We really appreciate you being here tonight. And guys, hang out a second, okay?